Are we in?
And we're in. Hello, everyone.
I always get a bit
Hi.
unnerved when we
Why?
when we don't crash in.
When
Yeah.
we don't.
Because I'm like, what should I be doing?
What
It's
do
a
we-
bit like
do we say?
well, it's like when you pose and it's like, what do I do with my hands?
Right, yeah.
I've forgotten what I do with my hands when I stand normally.
Should I be breathing?
So, yeah, exactly. Am I meant to look at the camera? Should I look
How do other podcasts start? Do they introduce themselves?
yeah, maybe we should
Hi,
do.
this is the
Yeah.
Vialucci
I mean,
podcast.
yes, this is...
To
yeah,
my
we do
right,
have-
we have...
Charlie.
And in front of me, we have...
Andrew. I didn't like that at all.
No,
but don't most
No,
podcasts...
skip that. Skip that. Let's forget that. Let's forget that.
But don't most... We do have a... hi, folks.
Oh, we
You're
have an
listening
intro,
to the,
yeah.
we have an intro. It
Yeah.
doesn't say who we are,
No.
but it's because we rotate, don't we?
No, it's because, the one host after the other was being beheaded.
There's- I mean, there
there
is
was no
also
point
that,
re-recording.
yeah. Yeah, some have been posthumously executed as
So
well.
here we are, it's a Christmas podcast.
Hello, everyone.
How,
What a great time to talk about
It's
executions.
Sunday now, but so when's Christmas?
Wednesday, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, Wednesday.
Hopefully we should have the show out by then. So you brought the Florentine cakes
I did bring
in?
the Florentines,
Or
which
half gone?
more than half gone, I would say. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So, hope you enjoy the show, everyone. While people count
Just
cakes,
count biscuits.
This is well worth.
Well, it's a
going
free podcast.
to. Yeah, true, actually. And we've
We're
got
gonna
mince
fill the
pies.
time
and
somehow, yeah.
Charlie brought in mince pies, even though he doesn't like mince pies, which made me think he was
Yeah.
given these. and was
He remembers
Maybe.
your
and was
skullduggery.
too polite
Maybe.
to say, actually, I don't eat those. So
Yeah.
he thought, I know who'll eat them.
Right. there you go.
I know some
Yeah.
people who might be hungry.
We've got
Yeah,
cognac.
exactly.
Can we sort of
Have they got cognac
siphon
in?
the drink
Yes,
out?
they got Courvoisier.
Oh,
Oh, so there you go.
So
how refined.
And I've got me Christmas jumper on.
You do, which jingles.
That's
one of the best ponies
out.
That is magical, that is. We should pretend that that's
can have
the
one of those
reindeer
at the
coming.
end of
he's here.
He's been.
So Christmas.
Yes,
right.
I'm wearing a Christmas jumper as well.
Well, I don't know. It's a confused. It's slightly sort of.
It's Santa on a pelican out of office. But I
Yeah.
mean, frankly,
It's ironic.
you don't want Santa out of office at Christmas time. He needs to be the one person working.
That's
Yeah.
his,
And, I mean,
that's
you,
his
of course.
busy period.
Maybe
to
he's
be
done.
honest.
He said now he's
Yeah.
off. So
And
that-
Charlie said humbugged Christmas
Yeah,
jumpers.
he just brought through the party.
Oh, he
through
did
the
bring
mixed
cards,
pies.
actually, to be fair.
Oh yeah, he's bought some cards. There you go.
He
Look.
did, yes.
I'm wearing the most creased T-shirt I could possibly find.
You're like, it's
I- the-
Christmas.
Hey!
Oh,
Okay.
very well.
Thanks, folks.
Okay,
Roll
well,
the end title.
we're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
I'll be
I
here
know,
all
that's-
week. Don't forget the tip waitress.
Jesus, we peaked early here.
Yeah,
didn't we?
exactly.
Any more puns? Save them till the end.
It's funny because it's true.
So
And but Charles brought us cards as well.
yeah, it's got glitter on them. I think glitter
Yeah.
always gives it a bit more.
I was
welly.
the only one who got a smiley face.
I
Yeah.
was going to do some.
Was that a social comment?
No.
The fact that was that
No.
like a thought process that went into the fact that we're not going to be given anything on the bottom?
No, well, it wasn't personal. Don't worry.
When did the
It
X
was.
become a kiss? I wonder what that means. X.
I don't know, actually.
I don't
That's,
know.
What's X in
And
Latin?
a
I'm glad
zero-
you asked us this
and
question
the-
after we all switched
And the
stuff
O
over.
was a hug.
Is O a hug? Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah. O is
What
hug.
was the original sign for Christianity? It was some sort of.
Oh, what was the
No, it was
Chi-
a fish,
Chi-
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that was the secret because it was to do with the Greek word for fish. Spelt was an anagram, wasn't it? It was something like
right,
that.
yeah.
I can't something along
There's,
those lines.
yeah.
But you've got a few
Kiss,
different ones
X.
because the the X for the Augustus because it was the sign he saw. It was the Chi. I want to say it was the Chiron, but I don't think that's right. But that's an X. I don't think that's why people sign off in their things. Kiss. It's an interesting point, actually.
X10. No.
Nope, no idea.
Well, there you go. Something for
Well, that
listeners to do.
that went nowhere.
Yeah, just
We can follow that up. in
well,
the,
anyway, I haven't got a kiss in here, but I have got a from Charlie.
I was
Yeah,
going to
there
put
you go.
love, but then
Yeah,
I
you
thought it
thought
might
maybe
weed you
next
out.
year. Get a year under your belt.
Yeah. I thought we're not there yet, but we will be. Don't worry.
Right. So
Yeah.
next year's Christmas is going to be an extravaganza. I think this is
Yeah.
the big year. We've got lots to come up this year. So
Speaking of Christmas cards, I saw a news story. I meant to look into this. I only spotted it this morning because I think it's kind of a breaking story. Tesco have stopped working with I think it's a factory or a card company in China, because everything, we don't make
Yeah.
anything in this
Yeah.
country, until Brexit means Brexit, etc., blah, blah,
Until
blah, blah, blah.
until we become poor enough to for
Yeah,
it to
exactly.
actually
And
be
then, to be
worthwhile
worthwhile.
to manufacture things.
That's a load of people switching off metropolitan elites because that's definitely what we are. Anyway, it was doing a free podcast where we've got
you see my bank
a
balance.
crumpled box
Yeah.
of
I
thingies.
would just like to say this is free. This
yes.
is a free podcast, ladies.
Yes. But it was a Christmas card factory. This is kind of fucked up. This isn't funny, but it's sort of a bit like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Is that inside some of the Christmas cards, there was a note from people saying, we're in a prison camp making these. Please help us. You need to alert human rights
Really?
groups. Yeah.
I heard a similar thing with Amazon as well.
I can imagine
people were putting notes in Amazon
I
parcels saying,
imagine that's a joke.
it was a joke, but people got in trouble for it.
Well, it was
They were
just one,
they
or
won't
it's
let us
like
go to the
photocopied
toilet.
in loads of them.
No, it was just smuggled in amongst the
No,
cards.
but I mean, what, one note?
Yeah.
Or it's like thousands in these.
Oh,
packets?
I don't know. I haven't.
If
Like
it was
there
one,
was a
that
kind
could
of
have
breaking.
been a joke.
No,
Did
but
you see a
again in
photograph of
China,
it?
yeah. There's a
So is
photograph.
it in Chinese?
No, it's written in English, but like all very broken English. You know.
Is it a load of bollocks? Or
No, I think it could be because there's the whole.
Well, they pulled it out, so it must be.
Yeah. People
Oh,
are, but to the point that Tesco have said we're stopping this now.
I wonder where the card came from. It's
Well,
like
it just-
Indonesia. that
it
bolts
was
stuff.
like some prison camp in China. They were saying.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, you know, because people. It depends. I don't know if we do it in this country, but some even in Europe, like in Sweden, a friend of mine went to jail in Sweden, and they give you little jobs.
Yeah.
You know, like I think one of the ones he had was like sorting out different screw sizes and putting them into,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
and you get paid tuppence a day. Because in America, that's the accusation that they've essentially brought back slavery. By
Yeah, because they're doing jobs.
Yeah, but they
Sticks
But
in
they get paid, like,
mailbags and things.
10p an hour.
yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
also that because of the whole 3 strike system as well. These people are going to jail for life for doing could be three
Yeah,
petty
yeah.
crimes,
Yeah.
and so they're basically
Yeah,
slaves.
yeah,
And the accusation, that a disproportionate number of black people. Because I object to the term African American. I know I'm not an African American, and I can't.
What
I'm
if you're
like,
Jamaican or something?
well, that's my point. Is that you're separating? It's saying you're not American.
Yeah.
You're
African,
African
yeah.
American.
Well,
you're other.
I
That's
heard-
what I've always thought.
Interestingly enough, I heard the term explained because most people born, black people born in America,
Yeah.
because of slavery, don't know their origins.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And they know that they are from Africa, and
Yeah.
but they are disassociated from their actual past and their actual heritage.
Yeah.
So it's instead of saying, "Hey, I'm Irish American. Hey, my family came from Sweden or Scotland or Mexico or wherever, or Peru or China," they can't say that because they don't know the country that they're
There
from.
must be other slaves from other places. You can't all say, well,
But this is a particular thing within the black
Yeah.
community, and this is a particular problem, an issue within the black community in America. So the term African American is just a coverall term, basically, because they are disassociated from their roots.
But it always seems to be groups that are likely to be subject to prejudice. You know, so no one says I'm English American, do they? Or you might say Irish American.
Anglo.
They do,
Yeah.
and German. People do.
Yeah,
it says-
but people don't say I'm German American. They just say American.
Jewish American, Anglo American.
Well, yeah, but they don't say Anglo American, do they? Because that implies that you might be born in England to American parents. Yeah.
Well,
But no
interesting
one
enough,
says-
the Irish Americans were discriminated against.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
Irish
it's
American,
discriminated
Italian
groups,
American
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Discriminated
yeah.
groups, yeah. Asian American
Yeah.
as the catch-all for anyone who's from the entire vast continent of
all those countries.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, in
All that
America,
bit of
yeah,
the
in
world,
America,
yeah.
Asian is tends to mean sort of South, what we would call South Asian.
Yeah,
so
that's right, yeah,
Indians,
yeah.
Sri Lankans, Pakistanis, Bangladeshi. Apologies, I'm not going to cover every bloody country.
Sri Lanka,
yeah,
Nepal,
yeah, you know what I mean.
Bhutan.
But yeah, but that's what that means. And so I don't know what the specific term for that ethnic group is.
Well, don't worry, you don't need it now. Brexit's coming through. You won't need to know.
Yeah,
It'll
exactly.
become-
We can, yeah,
Mate, a few Irish, and that's it.
Yeah. But it's well, I'm waiting for Scotland to break away because my nana's Scottish. Because even when Brexit happened, we all text my dad and said, "Can you make sure Nana's got her birth certificate?" He's like, "I've got the copy."
We don't because we've had this conversation. Several of my family have had this conversation talking about Irish citizenship, saying, "Okay, so how could we potentially get Irish citizenship?" Saying, "Okay, so my mum could probably get it, and then I could get it, and then my cousin was like, yeah, well, my dad could technically. He was born. His grandfather was Irish, so yeah. So we were trying to figure out basically if we could all get dual citizenship, but I think we came to the conclusion that it would just be a hassle." Really.
Yeah, I
just
don't
for
know.
forms.
When
and
did you say
stuff.
Brexit happens?
31st of January, isn't it? It's
yes.
basically-
So what does
But-
that mean? Nothing. What actually
but-
changes on the date? Do they
No,
go up
'cause
and-
it's
do they go
transitional,
and
isn't it?
soar
Literally,
off
yeah.
Scotland?
No,
Well, no, because it's not to break away from Scotland, but
Okay.
Scotland because it's
Just Europe, the rest of Europe. It doesn't break up the. What are they doing about the Irish border thing?
Oh God,
They're
that's
drawing a
interesting.
line in the sea. So basically,
So
Northern
not on the
Ireland
land. Yeah.
is effectively under the same rules and regulations, I believe, currently will be as Southern Ireland.
Yeah.
So technically, it's not going to be
Oh, for
kind of
God's
administered
sake.
by Britain anymore.
Oh well, it is. I think
by
it's only on
UK.
trade. It's only on trade, isn't it?
Oh, well, regulatory.
Yeah.
This is rules and regulations within that. So
Yeah, I enjoyed the. I mean, they fucked off now because they're irrelevant. But the DUP, you know, they were saying, "Oh, we don't want." You know, Arlene Foster, delightful woman, doesn't. Was saying, "Oh, we don't want Northern Ireland to be treated differently from the rest of the UK." It's like, but you don't want homosexuals and you don't want abortion, which are things that are. You don't want gay marriage and you don't want abortion, which are. So on your bigotry, you want to be separate
Yeah.
from the rest of the UK, from the rest of the human
and
race.
have a separate assembly as well. I mean, they
Yeah.
are represented in the.
No, I don't
the
mind. I
UK
don't mind that.
Parliament.
I don't
No,
mind.
I don't mind, but I'm saying
Yeah.
that they do have different. They have devolved powers there, so
Well,
they
they
are.
haven't. I mean,
they are-
Stormont hasn't sat for 3 years. The Northern Irish Assembly hasn't sat for 3
Really?
years. It's
Jeez.
years now. Yeah, it's coming on for years.
But just
Um,
it's like we've devolved. It's like snakes and ladders. We suddenly got into a snake and we've all gone back down to the bottom again. And
Yeah.
How do you mean, sorry?
lines and borders.
Oh, I
and
see, yeah,
like
yeah.
You thought we was getting away with them all then.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I think I don't think it will be. So what? You might have to wait a little bit longer in the holiday line. I don't think it will be drastic. It's no different than if you go to America, where you wait a bit longer. I don't think.
No, but
there's-
it's the air that it brings. You know, the Brexit air of Brexit. But I think that's more damaging than the actual sort of legalities of everything.
arguably, yes, but I mean, it hasn't happened yet. I know they've said that racial abuse and sort of discriminatory attacks
That's
have
what I mean.
gone- has gone. I don't know if it's
That's what I mean. It's created that air of that shit again. That,
Well, I
like,
think
it
there's
didn't
yeah,
work
but I
the
think
first
it's
time.
unfortunately it's given license to people who are that way inclined anyway, thinking, oh, that's what this means. You know, there was I think there was a report the day after the Brexit thing going, you know, some thugs going in somewhere. I can't remember what this was. It was either on a bus, in a shop, something
Yeah.
like that. And it was like, right, we've had Brexit. That means all you East Europeans need to fuck off. And you're like, that's not what the vote was.
Yeah, and I
Um,
heard stories about people handing out leaflets saying Polish people go home and
Oh,
stuff.
but
you know.
Polish, but I mean, for God's sake, how long have they been here for?
Well, forever.
That's what I
Well,
mean.
since
So
the
what I-
Second World War,
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
in large quantities, because
Yeah.
obviously many. It
The
was
Free
interesting.
Poles, they're very brave
Yeah.
guys, and they came over here and fought the Nazis with us.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah,
only
yeah,
reason
yeah.
we won the Battle of Britain
Yeah,
was
yeah.
because we had
Europe
they swelled
saved
the
it.
ranks. We
Yeah.
weren't running out of aircraft. We were running out of pilots.
pilots.
Yeah.
My grandmother, she worked as a wren, and she was involved with the.
Oh, what's that?
It was the women's
right.
naval corps, but
Yeah,
like
okay.
to do with fleet air arms. So she was sort of attached with the air.
Wrens.
So she was attached to the Air Force, and
Right.
she was connected with the Battle of Britain and doing
Okay.
communications around it. And she met loads of Polish pilots there, and she said they were all very. She always used to say they're very, very glamorous. And they used to have gold cigarette cases
Oh yeah.
and scarves. And, you know,
See, this
yeah.
is when men knew how to dress.
proper,
That's right, yeah.
proper gentlemen. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's get out of bloody.
I mean, the only
Listen-
thing I would say, like, just so that people don't have a. I'll speak for myself here. Like, the problem, I think, a big problem is that it's unfortunate that we went straight to the whole, oh, it's a racist, because I think that's the problem is that it just went, oh, if you vote for Brexit, you're a racist, and obviously that's not true.
No, but I mean, there's people that are stupid
Of
and
course,
exploit.
yeah.
They gives them
But
a
it's
reason.
the
to-
same on the other side. We saw my father and I assume he voted Remain, and I'm assuming he voted. I think I would guess Labour, but I'm not sure. In Brighton, this is anyway. But he didn't vote Tory. Essentially, is what I believe. But I'm still of the old-fashioned view of you don't ask people what they voted because that's
Yeah, well, why
that
would you
defeats
do
the
that?
point of a secret ballot.
Right, yeah.
And that's how you end up with the echo chamber on Facebook, where all you think that Labour are going to win because all your mates say Labour. But it's always, I have not a lot, but I have quite a few friends I know voted for Brexit who vote Tory, but they just kept quiet on social media because initially they were talking about it, and then they were just getting bombarded with hate, essentially from the left, you know, from the so-called left, from people who voted Remain. And
The
everything.
intolerant left.
Yeah, but it is that. I mean, and we saw it was. My dad was like, "How do I turn?" He was like, "How do I turn off this?" He got invited to some group, you know, that was pro Remain and everything on Facebook. And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine, whatever." And he was like, "How do I turn this off? Because this is relentless. It's just constant." And he showed me one of the posts, and it was some woman posting. Her gender's irrelevant; it's just for the story. Posting that, well, the fact that all the all these northern former Labour working class areas have turned towards Tory proves that all working class people just hate immigrants, and it was just literally went off on one about basically working class people were racist pieces of shit was her argument. It shouldn't have the vote and all this, and you're like, well done, madam. This is pointless. You can't. My dad, because Dad was like, I'm tempted to reply to this.
Yeah,
I was like, you're not going to change that person's mind. She has made up her mind.
Yeah.
You don't. It's like Hillary in the during the election, the baskets case of deplorables. You're not going to win people over to your side by calling them a bunch of fucking idiots. A bunch of scumbags. Like people just go, well, actually, F you, I'm going to go the other guy. I think it just shows. Maybe don't worry, we'll stop talking about Brexit. Guys.
Sorry, guys.
But I think it just shows that how desperate people are for how alienated people are, and how they feel desperate and they need some kind of change and reform. They need to gamble that they are voting for Boris Johnson. That the poorest people in this country look at Boris Johnson and say, yeah, he's the guy who's going to fix things.
But it's also again,
he's the guy who's going to bring change. And I think that's how desperate these people, like a lot of people.
But it's a broad spectrum of people. It's not just like all the working class people suddenly switch. It's people from all walks of life, all everything. There's an expectation. Now the narrative has now been changed that it was because the North, the working class North turned against Johnson. Was like, but he still had to retain all these other seats. You don't get that big a majority just because some of the people switch sides and whatever. I'm sure there are plenty of people. This is the problem. I think
we shouldn't have come to this. We shouldn't have come to this point of where we're just gambling now. This better than anything. It might turn out shit, but we've got to do something.
Like somebody said he's off on the revolution.
Somebody said about Trump. He said, "What does it amount to just throwing a brick through the White House window?" That's what putting Trump in there was. They said, "Look, we're just fucking angry. We want something to change."
Precisely.
But it's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, if we want to talk about politics, Charles, I could see you looking at this.
Could you see him looking at that?
Yes.
This is great for podcast. Theo is showing off his parliamentary.
I could see Charles
parliamentary
looking.
lanyard. I couldn't keep my eyes off.
I mean, if you're going to keep going on about it, it is my visitor pass.
I mean, that's all we've heard from Charles. Just yap about that lanyard.
So that's my little visitor pass then.
Are we allowed to say the name of the person?
I wouldn't, but it says Lord on there.
Yeah,
so that's
it's Lord Buckethead. And Count Binface.
Count Binface.
I love the fact that when Lord Buckethead got more votes than Count Binface and started
he gave him the
flipping
finger.
the bird, really vigorously.
Well, anyway, so just to say that, just to let Charles know, this is my visitor pass. I'm wearing around.
He's now a class traitor. He's hanging out with the Lords.
A little bit, yeah. No, I'm infiltrating it.
Is that what it is? That's what they were saying. Yeah, don't say that. For the avoidance of doubt, and if the security services
that was a joke.
That was a joke.
Yeah.
I'm going to remove this before it gets me in trouble.
Don't want to have any phone calls, do we?
I would like to just say this is my visitor pass from the House of Commons.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. That is the end of the...
See how he's changed. See how he's changed.
I can't even make a joke about it now.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it is.
But this is the sort of taking it back to slightly to break, but moving beyond, is that we've gone to a phase, it seems, where you can't have different opinions and not be at the extreme. I was talking to a friend of mine about the Star Wars films, and he's not a big fan of the sequel films. We've just had episode 9, and he doesn't like them. And
don't go and see him.
Yeah, exactly. But that's his thing. I think he saw the first two. He was lukewarm about the first one, hated the second. He did say that he had illegally because he was like, I'm not paying for it. Illegally, I did say I was curious. I was like, why are you downloading the third one if you? But it's like, but he said we were talking about that. He said, whenever I tell people, if I'm on like some chat thing or whatever online or anything like that, people just call me some neck-bearded misogynist because I don't like the new films. He's like, I don't care that they've got women. I have issues with the story and this and that. But he just says, I just get yelled. Everyone just calls me names.
It's an odd thing about Star Wars. I was talking to the man in the comic book shop, and he says that because there's lots of Star Wars comics, especially there's this new film coming out.
Star Wars comics.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I mean, there
were
for a long time, weren't they?
Oh yeah, ever since the first film, Marvel did the series, and then went to Dark Horse, and it's about Marvel. So yeah, it's been and he says that you get people coming in, you get a lot of big Star Wars fans coming in. It's a comic book shop. Of course, you're going to get some nerds coming in.
Yeah.
What are these nerds doing? A comic book shop? Get out, Get back to Games Workshop, you losers.
Hey.
I'm a nerd. I'm allowed to say this. You know what I mean? I'm allowed to use the N word, the nerd word.
I was really worried there.
I had to clarify that for a second.
I
had to clarify
because some nerds will use the other N word. Anyway,
But he said that, he said he's never seen like a fan base so antagonistic and vitriolic about the thing that they supposedly are fans of.
Yeah.
He said people come in and they will just get so angry and rant
But
about
what about
how they hate Star Wars, how they ruined it, how the films are terrible.
What are they? What when they have a go at Star Wars? I mean, it's got spaceships and lightsabers.
It's got war in the stars.
So what are they
What
not
they-
liking?
Well, I don't know.
What's the problem?
have you-
What's the sort of?
And he was saying, because his parents are Chinese, so he's a British Asian chap himself, and he says he gets
See
people.
how he's classifying. See.
Well, no, but he says
I know.
Oh,
he
he
says
said
he gets
everything
people
of them.
coming in saying, I think they ruined it when they just put in all these black people and
Oh,
all
what?
these women and stuff." And like he's just like, and bless him, he's a really nice guy. And he's just like, "Do you not see like me? Do you not see
Oh,
what's
right.
going on?"
So
You
the
know?
nerds are even racist.
Oh yeah, massively.
Oh,
You think they'd be like ultra liberal,
it used to be like
Yeah.
kind of cool and a cool tolerance community, but
and even then just
now
hate.
I think it's weird because it's Star Wars has never had, because Star Trek had a black woman on the bridge. It had a Japanese,
What do you mean on the bridge?
the main cast. You know, it wasn't like she was just there. folding-
Uhuru.
Yeah, Uhura. Yeah,
He's
she
just
wasn't
making
just,
noises at me again.
that was her name.
Oh,
you know the original series. Uhuru.
yeah.
Michelle
Oh, right, the
Nichols,
black
yeah,
chick
yeah.
on
Had
there.
a Russian
The black
guy.
chick.
What's the bridge? Why'd you say the bridge?
Because that's
the-
command area.
Yeah.
Not a bridge.
No,
it's-
you know, like a ship has a bridge.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
you
a
mean like
naval
at the-
term.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
it's
right.
naval
Yeah,
term.
yeah.
But that that had a black actress at a time where segregation still existed, or I would assume it still existed.
It was, around
yeah,
time.
you had a-
First interracial kiss.
and it was banned.
Yeah.
Right, it was
Yeah.
still banned
it
until
was.
the 90s. I don't.
No,
think
was it really?
yeah,
that?
they
not,
sh-
I mean,
they
not in
shelved
all of
the
America.
episode. They
Yeah,
sh-
but
the episode
I
was-
imagine in some states, yeah.
No, I think the episode was shelved,
Oh,
and they
really?
only showed it for the first time in the 90s.
Because Leonard Nimoy, it was meant to be that Spock kissed her, but William Shatner was like, no.
Oh, right.
But it was, and these gods made them force
Yeah,
them to
yeah,
do
force
it.
them
So
to do
it
it,
was. They
Oh,
were like,
it
"Oh
wasn't
no!"
really.
But
no.
their thing wasn't like, they're forcing us to a white man to kiss a because that was never part of the thing. It was just that this is inappropriate. I'm the captain, you're the thingy, and we're being forced against our will. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
So what was the actual story where they kissed?
that was it. Where the
They were
so they were
forced.
being manipulated. They were basically being humiliated, by these weird
They also made
omnipotent things.
Yeah, they were making
They
them
were like
perform like a
playthings.
play.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
okay.
basically like, and you'll breed with this one and that one for our entertainment, and you'll
Fucking hell.
fight in gladiatorial things, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, but it was meant to be Leonard Nimoy, but William Shatner was like, no, I want the kiss.
Out
be
the way!
fair, I-
Out the way!
To be
doesn't
fair,
care
I
what
would.
the
Like
green,
Michelle
black-
Nichols,
Yeah.
Lieutenant Uhura, I'd be like,
She's
yep,
still an
totally.
attractive
Oh,
lady
yeah,
nowadays.
stunning,
I mean,
yeah,
still-
stunning,
still
yeah.
nice. She's in her 80s now.
Yeah.
Still like, oh, she's
What about
a pretty
Kirk?
lady.
Is he all plastic surgery now? He's been in Hollywood for too long.
I don't think he's
Shatner.
mega. I'm sure he's had a
William
bit, but I don't think he's got. He's
Oh.
not mega. He's not like full blown pan faced.
No, he's not like Sylvester Stallone's mum melting in slowly by the fire.
Yeah, she's a,
That's
that thing
horrendous.
when she was on Big Brother and she was talking,
Oh,
telling
she
them
from
that
Big Brother?
she was
America
Celebrity
or
Big
England?
Brother, celebrity, because that was the weird thing. Everyone's like, I didn't even know Sylvester Stallone had a mum. I mean, I know he'd had a mum.
I've seen
it was
something,
like-
but I'm not sure what
yeah,
it was.
It was just
born
like,
born
why?
in a barn under a star. Yeah.
Yeah, why is his mum? Why is that a thing?
Why is this a thing? Yeah.
But yeah, and it was rather unkind because they had Brigitte Nielsen.
yeah.
I don't know how you say in it originally because periodically with Big Brother, they'll have your sort of, I guess, your original cast for that season or series, whatever, and then periodically they might throw in someone new.
Yeah.
Ooh, a spanner. And so Brigitte Nielsen, because I'm sure she wouldn't have agreed. Well, she might have done. It might have all been played up. Who knows? Constructed reality, I believe, is the term. Then they threw in like, "Hey, here's your ex-mother-in-law." It was just a bit unkind.
idea is that? What
Well,
a
just
shitty-
someone
Don't you just want something that's actually interesting?
Well, she was. I mean, she was fascinating because you were like, I don't know.
But
what's
if
going on
Brigitte
here.
Nielsen was in there, she wouldn't be on there. Then
Probably not.
There's no point.
But
She
they should have had her
does
in it
nothing.
because she was insane. Like she was talking about how
And what happened?
she used to sneak in. She was telling these stories, and you were
Oh.
like, I don't know what's going. I mean, the one thing she did that was very funny. She was asking Big Brother. Bearing in mind, Big Brother's all built on cruelty and
Yeah.
everything. She was saying, "Why can't we have more wine with dinner? Why can't we have some harp music playing?"
The mum.
helps with the digestion.
Well, she's been around a long time
Yeah,
in
exactly.
Hollywood.
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
She was a wrestling
I-
promoter.
Was she?
Yeah.
And she was also talking about how she used to do plastic surgery on people.
No.
So they would be anaesthetized by the doctors who, was like, "I'm going to do your surgery now," and bye-bye, sleep. And then she said, according to her,
Yeah.
that
it
then
was
she would go in afterwards and do the surgery.
and
That
just
doesn't
hack up
sound
your
right.
face.
Yeah, what's the doctor?
And just you'd look at her and go, That's not someone I want.
Yeah.
You know,
That's like a nightmare. That's like a horror. That's a setup for a horror film,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
No, I can't see a doctor stepping back and go, go on, have a go,
well,
love.
that was why. But it was just like that. Why do you think that anyone believes this?
Who is Big Brother still going? What was it, once a year, once a 4 years?
You know what?
It's kind of on rest now in the UK anyway. I don't know.
I saw it was on like a year ago or something.
Yeah,
I
that was
can't
the
even
last
remember.
one. It's
And who is it? Just gone? Have they got the money to sort of pull in big names? Or
It's
is it
on
just
Channel 5. It moved to Channel
Yeah.
5, which tells its
Yeah,
own
that's
story.
nice.
Yeah.
but it was also
everyone on this under 22.
yeah.
but it's yeah, I think they did try and make it a bit younger, but they just I think the deal ran out with Channel 5 and Big Brother as the company, Endemol, whatever.
Yeah, so lame.
weren't
lame.
trying to find anything new for it to go. I think they were saying this will be it for indefinitely.
Yeah.
They'll bring it back in about 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be Big Brother reunion and blah 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 blah
I
blah.
wonder if they have a Big Brother in Vietnam.
They probably actually I don't know. To be honest.
They did franchise.
I'm just
it
wondering if
was-
the
it
Asian
was
culture is a
around.
bit more mature. Like there wouldn't be that sort of fetish.
Well,
for-
I mean, they have again taking the sweeping Asia, but India had Big Brother. It's under a
Yes.
different
Yeah.
because that's where Jade Goody was in it.
But there's
Oh,
not
okay.
so
That's
much you can
okay.
get away with, though, is there? Like sexually and rude. You're not going to be able to.
Well,
do
some of the European ones, they were just shagging the whole
Yeah, I
time.
can imagine the Euro
Everyone was just
trash,
naked.
yeah.
Like there was like the Dutch one. Everyone was just naked the whole time.
fine.
Just going,
Schmocking
just
back,
going
schmocking
fine,
having a
whatever.
pancake.
You know. And like there was a Swedish one. Everyone literally was just having
Apologies to our
sex in
Dutch viewers.
in a big pile, basically.
Oh, really?
It's a sex video.
There was
And where can I find this on, on YouTube?
What exactly was it? No.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's
Just-
sex and Brexit, and this is not
Sex it.
acceptable.
We'll have a sex
Christmas
it.
podcast. Mince pies. So didn't they used to? What was the thing with mince pies?
They would get
It was a
the
leftover.
children of their defeated enemies and mince them.
ground them into mince and then put them in pies.
So we're trying to be child friendly on this show.
I don't think we've ever been
Mince
child
pies.
friendly.
What is it? It's something. I can't remember.
Didn't they have mince?
Fermented something. It was the meat. It was a meat pie.
Yeah.
It was packed in meat.
No, but it's meat as in fruit. Mince meat is the fruit thing. So you would have like meat pies.
So
Yeah.
it was minced up meat
No.
in the pie.
No,
I
just a
thought it
different
was.
term.
Why is it called mince pie then?
Because it's minced vegetable. It's just it's
Oh.
old. It's a ye oldie word for mince meat.
I thought they originally did have meat in them. I
Well,
thought
some pies would have meat in them,
so
but
it's
not
technically
these.
a Ginsters, but just changed it.
Yes, it's a Ginster
Ginsters,
pie.
yeah.
So it's a mixed up pie.
Christmas ginsters.
Poor
Yeah.
old Ginsters.
Oh, well, this is the season now where everything has cranberry in it. Just shove cranberry in everything and charge an extra £1.
What did I have? I had.
I don't know.
Continue while I eat this pie.
Yeah.
I had like these things. They were like Brussels sprout balls, where they were Brussels
I was
sprouts.
going to say, aren't Brussels
yeah,
sprouts
yeah.
in a
Okay,
ball?
so they were Brussels sprouts, which come in ball form, naturally, and then they were
I
like
like that we're very mature.
they were like deep fried or whatever. They sort of had batter around them, and they were because I love Brussels sprouts. So I was
Yeah.
like, and they would chew. So I was like, oh yeah, get them.
Brussels
nice.
sprouts are great.
I love them. They're some of my favorite part of the meal. Love them, and
Horrendous.
they were just gross. I had like one. I don't normally.
We'll ignore that.
I don't normally do this because I'm sort of poor and I normally eat, and I feel bad about chucking food, so I normally eat stuff even if I hate it. So I'm just trying to get through it, and I was like, you know
Apart
what?
from
I'm
mince
actually
pies.
having to throw these away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So battered mince pies.
Yes.
Battered mince pies.
Battered Brussels sprouts.
That sounds like an American thing you'd find in Texas or something. It's a deep fried
Yeah,
Brussels sprouts.
or Scotland.
Or McDonald's.
But
I still haven't had my cessation from McDonald's. I was going to have an official banning of McDonald's from my life.
And
Haven't done it.
when was your last McDonald's? Other fast
years,
food chains
I
are
don't know,
available.
But I just want to have a complete. I want to cut the string. So I
Yeah, but
know-
surely
I'm
by
gonna say I
not,
do
by,
not go to
yeah,
McDonald's.
but by not having it, you have de facto had a ban.
No,
on
but
it.
there's no show. To
There's no show.
There's no event.
There's been no
cut the
press
cord.
release officially. It's not been on the.
I want to have a
10 o'clock
day
news
where I
yet.
go, that is it. It is gone. It is dead.
You
to
want the
me.
pips? You want the boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, yeah.
Theo X has stopped eating McDonald's.
I want a
Dum, dum,
photograph
dum.
that
Yeah.
can mark the event.
Just you
Breaking
waggling your
news.
finger.
That looks like a little hat.
What?
Oh, look at that.
The
That's great. That is.
again
Look at
for
that.
our listeners.
That's perfect.
It's the mince pie foil.
Shell, oh, yeah.
If you turned it upside
Yeah.
down, put it on top of
I'm
our,
not gonna-
our sponsors.
Yeah, which is.
Bottle.
I'm
Our love
going to put
drinks.
the hat
Love
on.
drinks.
I'm going to put the hat on an angle just to be sort of trendy.
Yeah, how's that
No,
working
no, it
out
doesn't
for you?
work. Have to be a top hat. Like that's perfect. Well done, Charles.
So, did you make these batter? I can't believe we're talking about batter Brussels sprouts. But
No. I bought them in
what
a shop.
did he make them? They're in a thing with Tesco's
well, no,
on
you
them.
get the no, not the pies.
Oh,
We're off the pies.
My
mate.
deep fried Brussels sprouts.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to start with deep fried Brussels sprout, once they deep fried the Mars bar and all that,
Yeah.
then all the doors kicked
Tempura.
open.
Tempura would be probably quite nice, like tempura batter. You know, the thin sort
Put
of.
him in the mattress.
Yeah.
No, it was like that. Yeah, it was like that. That's the thing.
Oh, really?
It was
that
sort of
very
like
nice.
No.
Yeah, but probably a bit sludgy. If you got it fresh in a restaurant, then probably quite nice. I think like tempura
You
vegetables.
can get battered ice cream, can't you?
Yeah,
In a ball. They do it in a ball and they
yeah,
deep
like-
fry and then put it onto your plate.
I'm trying to think if I've had. I don't think I have had that. It just
No,
looks a
where
bit
would
too-
you go to eat? That's like the Ritz sort of stuff. Well, I suppose not the Ritz.
Hey, I'm there every week. outside, pressing my face against the window,
asking for money as
hoping
they leave.
be like, "Oh, please, master."
So
please,
that's what
let me
the
have
other
a-"
half do.
What's
Yeah.
that? Are you still unemployed?
I'm freelance. Thank you. Very
Oh no,
much.
you're working for Disney or something, aren't you?
Disney. Yes, that's
What
right.
was- you're
I'm
working-
Kevin Feige. I just keep
Who
on the
you
down.
work? You was working
I work at Discovery.
Discovery.
So
that was it, yeah.
Eurosport, essentially. Yeah.
Euro trash.
I work on Eurotrash.
What's it like working at Discovery? All right.
Yeah, it's
They
really,
treat
it's
you
really
right?
nice. Yeah.
They hit you?
Do they hit me?
I don't know.
I have to blink. I have to blink. No, they don't hit
No
me.
big
The boss is
corporation?
really nice.
Uh,
He never hugs me inappropriately.
Can you mention where you worked? You brought it up quickly.
Oh no.
No.
Why can't you? That's a nice thing.
No. What?
I'm not asking for any stories. Just you said you worked.
No,
at
it didn't seem like it was.
No.
leading
Oh no.
anywhere.
Not going to talk about that. No.
This is a great chat. Basically, Charles has taken to sucking people off for a fiver, but he doesn't want to say where.
Shut up.
But
don't tell them which bridge I hang
that's
out.
Charlie underscore.
Yeah.
What's your Twitter handle again? We keep forgetting.
Charlie Charles at Charlie_Lion.
And how goes the? Because you had a load of frog people, alt-right frog people. What's the frog called? I've forgotten.
Oh,
now.
Pepe.
Pepe, thank you. Yeah.
Well, a couple of vehement anti-Zionists as well.
Right.
They left. Oh, and the Jedi guy left as well.
The Jedi guy.
Yeah, the Jedi following me, and that was a real shame because I was like, oh,
What, an actual Jedi?
He had lots of pictures of him in Jedi robes.
Were any of them falling
So
over
what did you say for him to
erotically?
disappear?
I don't know. I wasn't on Twitter.
Have you not been active on it?
Yeah, I wasn't on for a couple of
Oh.
weeks. It was-
I thought you were taken to yelling at. I mean, surely this is prime time to yell at politicians.
Yeah.
From
Both
both
material.
sides.
Yeah.
screw up their Christmas. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had a lot of time.
Just write "lol" to
I've
Joe
just been-
Swinson over and over again. The election was worth having for her losing.
No, I
seat.
did actually think that was funny. To
Yeah,
be honest.
that was amazing.
Yeah, I did actually
So,
think that was.
I'm going to be prime minister. You haven't held onto your seat, love.
It's like, come on.
And then she said, "I'm standing down." Standing down from
So
what?
you
You're
didn't get
out.
up
That's
anywhere.
me going back to my job and going, "I quit." You were made redundant 2 months ago.
Yeah. How did you get in the building?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, let's get Christmassy. So, do kids still believe in Christmas? In Father Santa Claus?
I'll need to go out and ask them all, but as far as I'm aware, they are up to a certain
Is there a
age,
poll, an official poll? Have
No,
children, 90% of all children been polled? Do you think it's right to, or do you think you should not bring it up?
You know what? I never really, I never really believed in Father Christmas. I always, I went through
It seems weird to
the
look-
pantomime of the whole thing, you know. But I never really thought that.
But it's an odd thing to introduce to a child that there's something, knowing that it's not. Like
Yeah,
real.
but we do that. We take them to church. We do that.
No, but that's then you do
Oh,
believe
snap,
that.
sorry.
If you knew at like 12 you were going to explain to them that it doesn't exist, you wouldn't do it. It seems
No,
an
it's
odd
almost
thing
like the
to-
children grow up. It's sort of in the way that children. You tell children that you came from your mummy's tummy because mummy and daddy had a special hug, and then kind of by their own point they go, "There's clearly more going on here than a special
Yeah,
hug."
but there's always a snapping point where they go, "Oh, that's
yeah,
all
yeah,
right."
and that's what I think.
So
with
why
and
introduce
that's what
that
I think.
to
I
the
nearly said Satan.
I used to
Santa,
think
that's-
people got pregnant by kissing a lot. Because
Have a baby
I
out the
watched
bum.
films,
and then last week,
I'd watch, and then
you watched that
I've
Swedish
been
Big Brother.
I've been kissing loads, and no one's got pregnant. I was
Yeah,
like,
so
oh,
odd.
maybe I'm infertile.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shame. But no, because I used to watch films, and like in the films they used to start kissing, and then like cut away, and then like afterwards
Here's
they'd
the
be having
baby.
sex or whatever.
Yeah.
They'd be in beds afterwards, and I'd be like, oh, that's
having a fag.
Yeah.
the scene missing. There was
Right,
a scene
yeah.
missing, and I just
Something's
thought
not
that's how
right.
people. I just thought that's how people got pregnant, is kissing.
Well, the birds and the bees, like you say, the birds and the bees. What's the actual? Why would that be associated with giving birth to a baby? The birds.
Well, also because they don't
Pollen.
fuck the same way that we do.
It's,
I mean,
it's
they
not
don't
an
have
apt analogy.
Sorry, yeah, they don't have children the same way we do. Shouldn't
Birds
have
and
been
the
so
bees,
brutal
why
with
would
that.
they- Is it something to do with spreading pollen? Birds.
It's probably just birds, and I don't know. Maybe there's
Random.
some Cockney rhyming slang.
Birds. Birds might be
Birds.
women.
Yeah.
What's the other one?
Bees
The bee
could be men.
Men. The birds. Men. Oh, this is, anyway. So, if you have kids, would you bring up Santa, or would you go along with the
No, I mean,
delusion?
well, for example, we have my nephew. He's only 4.5, and we're still going with the idea that there's Santa.
Yeah.
So just because it's kind of magic, it's make believe, isn't it? It's just the fun of that.
Yeah. Dunno.
But when he goes to bed, because they'll be staying at my mum's house, so what they'll do is they'll have the presents hidden away in some spare, just some boring spare room that he's not going to want to go into, and then once he's gone to bed, they'll put them out under the tree. So it's like, oh, he's been, and although very sadly, not last year, sorry, because last year they were in France. The year before, it was his first sort of Christmas of being like, oh, there's, because when they're babies, you open up the presents for them, and they've no
Yeah,
idea
it's
what's going on.
pointless.
They're more interested in the paper,
the noise.
Yeah, exactly. But the year before last, where he was kind of like actively playing with toys, and this is the toy I like. When you're playing, it's like, what do you want to play with, that kind of thing. The next day, on Boxing Day, when he got up, he ran into the living room thinking like, oh, there's going to be presents under the tree, thinking like, this is how I live my life now. Every morning I wake up and there's more toys. Nope. Sadly. I mean, he does, because he's 4.5, and he's
so
got
when do
Every
they-
day is Christmas when you're
Yeah,
falling
yeah,
out.
when
that's
do
it,
they
yeah.
start celebrating babies' birthdays?
Well, from the beginning, but
We
the
would
first
celebrate a one birthday.
Yeah,
would
but
you?
it's for the
Yeah.
parents, isn't it? It's more for the.
Oh, well,
I mean, that's why you see. I can't remember which rapper it was, and they spent like hundreds of thousands of pounds on their kid's first birthday.
for the advert in the magazine.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they spent that for.
It's for publicity. It's
shoot,
like
yeah.
it's like when celebs, it's like, oh, he bought them this ring that cost engagement ring
Yeah.
that cost
Yeah.
11 billion,
Yeah.
and you're like,
But people,
so ugly.
how
isn't
could
it?
you
It's
walk
just
past a
ugly.
homeless person with that on your finger?
Yeah.
But
I'm
people-
not saying I'm giving out like.
Well,
Sorry,
so
but you know
them
what I mean?
celebrities have to get fake rings made up that looks like the original rings because they can't actually wear them in public
Well, no,
because
'cause
they've
you
told
just get robbed,
everybody
yeah.
you've got £250,000 on your arm.
Well, this was the thing when Kim Kardashian got. I'm not saying it was fine for her to be robbed or anything like that, but
If
because she was posting on Instagram with all bedecked in all this jewellery, and so and also obviously saying where I am and all this kind of stuff, they knew
yeah.
how to go get. Again, I don't want because it was probably very frightening. It was,
And did they
it
get
was-
anybody?
I actually don't know.
I don't know the follow-up to that.
Yeah, but it was a
Didn't
weird.
get
It was
anybody.
just weird, like one of these weird luxury hotels, and actually the security was, it was some fat guy getting, some.
Well, I've
old
got no sympathy for
security
that
guard
lot.
getting fat on a pension.
Spend your whole life saying, "Look how much I've got."
Yes and no. I know what you mean, but no one wants to be held at gunpoint. I don't think that's.
So was she actually, or was this just?
No, she was held at
So
gunpoint.
it
Yeah.
was a police involved.
Yeah, a police
investigation?
investigation. I think it was, but that's how they worked it. They realised that, she'd been flaunting the jewellery that I don't know how much was owned and how much was loaned, because I think it was at the time of the Cannes Film Festival. So everyone says, here, wear this watch, we'll let you borrow this and that and everything like that. And every once in a while, celebrity gets in trouble because they don't give it back.
I can never see myself getting to that point where you start wearing designer clothes because somebody's dressing you and all. They go, when do you start becoming? I was listening to something that Ricky Gervais a couple of months ago, and they were saying like, how comes you get away with a lot in terms of celebrity, like you're not that hassled, and he said, because I don't prostitute myself basically, and he said, because I became famous when I was like 40,
Yeah.
I'd grown up enough for it to not be bothered like by all these other stuff. And I think, yeah, if you're mature enough,
You don't do interviews with whatever magazine. You don't go to the celebrity haunt.
yeah.
Well,
he said he was
but-
pressured to get his teeth done. He said, no, why?
But that's precisely. If you want, you can avoid it pretty much if you
Yeah.
want to. 'cause
Yeah, that's what
there's
he
loads
said. I
of
don't
people.
court it. He said, I don't go to the events and show
No.
off me thing and this
There's
and that.
loads of
what I
people you
think,
never
yeah.
see anything about. I mean,
Yeah.
George Clooney, for instance, a huge star, and you never really see much except
just
when he
a
got
film
married.
appre- yeah,
except when he
film
got married,
premieres, yeah.
and then he sort of presented that as a public-ish kind of event. But you never really see him. Like, his
If
private
you,
life.
you go back to Jordan, what's her name now? Jordan, the model.
Katie Price.
Yeah. If you so she's like the she's like the
Yeah.
very definition of.
Oh, she's always been
sell
look at me.
everything. Sell the children photos, sell the divorce photos.
Because there was
sell
that
the
weird thing where her
married
and,
photos, sell everything.
Who was the other lady? Jodie.
Foster.
Marsh?
No, Marsh. Yes, thank you. No, Jodie Foster.
She
And
was
they-
the budget Jordan as well. I mean, imagine that. Imagine being a budget Jordan knockoff. You're like the Audi Jordan.
But they almost had this controversy off. That's not right. But it was almost who could turn up in the smallest thing, who could say the most outrageously
vulgar.
sexual, vulgar. Thank you. Yeah, who could do the say or talk about the most vulgar things, and who could throw the. I showed you that. Twitter video where she said that insult, fishy. About,
it's surprising you've ended up a hollow person on your own. Yeah.
But it was just a bit like, it was just, clearly there's no one around her to go, enough now. But
no, she's removed all them people from her life a long time ago.
Probably, yeah. Well, that was what they said about Michael Jackson, wasn't it? You couldn't say, Michael, stop having all these facelifts. Stop.
10 doctors said no. And
but the one, so they're all fucked off, and the one who says, I'll keep giving you, prescription meds under the table.
They're basically people that need care, but they've just got the money to just say, no, I don't need it.
Exactly. Unfortunately, I mean, you need to get to the point where, the problem as well is in some instances they've got fucked up families. So it's not. I believe it's Britney Spears. It might be. It's not a very young person, but has one of their parents has essentially taken control of their finances,
right? Yeah,
because it's like you're not a well person. You've been robbed by your manager. I think I could be wrong. Probably whatever. Who gives a shit?
Well, she got coloneled, did she?
Essentially, yeah. So that children is a reference to Elvis. Ask your great grandparents who Elvis is. Yes, not Colonel Sanders, and
Colonel Blimp.
Colonel Blimp, yeah. It's a good film, that.
That's great.
Life and Death of Colonel Blimp again. Oh, wow, we're really down with our references, aren't
really,
we?
it's a British wartime film that isn't necessarily that anti-German. I mean, it's not pro-German, but it's about reconciliation and about it's an interesting topic for a film made in 1944.
Yeah, they got in quite a bit of trouble for that, didn't they? I think Powell and Pressburger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
it's quite subtle and it's quite sort of progressive in its tone because it's not an out-and-out piece of propaganda.
Sounds like the culture show, a late-night culture show. The progressives. Right, let's see. Christmas. It's Christmas podcast. Any Christmas stories? Anything unusual happened to you on a Christmas? We heard my waking up in a graveyard in Christmas. Have you got anything?
Did we?
Yeah. I think you were there for that show.
Maybe I was just drunk on
the
these cognac, mince pies.
Mince pies, and we've explained to you what they are. Anything nice happened to you? Have you had any special Christmases?
Yeah, they've all been quite nice. I do like
Nothing
Christmas.
stands out, though. Nothing amazing.
Well, not one, yeah. I mean, I didn't wake up in a graveyard any time. I'm trying to think if I've had... They've just always been... I've just been quite lucky, even with my parents' divorce. Like, the first one was just... It was a bit crap to that first Christmas.
What do you mean? The one after?
After they decided to split up, and do Christmas. So we did still do Christmas morning together, but it was just a bit because my mum hadn't got settled into her house, so it was decided we do it anyway. We split between going with my dad or being with my mum, but we always do Christmas morning together anyway. But it was just the excuse me, am I about to burp? I think I wolfed down that mince pie too quickly. Here we are. That was seamless. And
professional.
Yeah, exactly. It was just that first one. Let rip on the mic. It was just that moment of and get in the car, waving goodbye to mum, and it was just that drive when it was like, oh, that's not the same actually. Is it? It was quite sad. I mean, I was like 24, so it's pathetic, frankly. 23, 24, but it was just like a bit like, oh, that's not quite the same. I know it's different for you, but you know what I mean. It was
Charles,
just
I can see you must have had some ups and downs in life. I can see you.
That's nice.
I can see you've had a hard life. Just looking at that weathered face.
There's always been an undercurrent of Charles. It's like there's been some friction in his life.
So really, he went in search of enlightenment, didn't find it.
Yeah, that's what. But why did he go? So that's what I'm thinking. There's always been an unknown.
Well, he's just inquisitive mind.
No, something happened.
There's a deep chasm inside.
Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah. Is there any odd Christmases, nice or bad?
I still can't believe you just.
What?
You were like, you must have had a bad Christmas.
Yeah. No, I've always known that he's got a lot of ups and downs in his life that we've never actually attended to, and I've never got the guts to actually corner him on. So any goods or bad?
Yeah, because that's what friends do. They grab each other and tell me about your hidden trauma, your secret pain.
I've got a small family, but they've always been
define small.
Well, it's just sort of
the bog standard family.
No, my mum, my aunt, and
So even
cousin.
extended family is just very small.
Yeah,
Because
and
I
I've got
wasn't sure if you meant
cousin,
immediate or...
like.
So where do you end up on Christmas Day now?
We used to always do it at mine.
Yeah.
Like
At yours?
my mum's.
Oh.
And this year we're going to my cousin's. Hi, Rod.
Where's
Hi,
he?
Rod.
Hi,
Is
James.
this on the coast?
No. This is they live in Isha.
Oh.
So yes.
So you're
Should
not
be
going
good
back
fun.
to your cabin in the woods or wherever? Where is it?
Cabin in the woods.
Their beachside,
Wales.
their
No beach
beachside
house.
mansion.
No, that's for summers.
Oh, okay.
And
That's your
festive
summer
time.
house.
That's my yeah.
The butler
summer
gets to have it
retreat.
for winter. Just
and
mainly-
occasionally,
mainly
I
to
mean,
keep the pipes warm.
I do go there for fireworks as well.
For where?
For bonfire night. They have a wonderful bonfire
Oh, right.
thing. there.
Strange night to go somewhere. We holiday for the bonfire night season.
Oh no, but they have like a parade there. And
Is it like a
big
Wicker
thing.
Man sort of thing?
Yes, that's where
Yeah,
they
is
burnt the boat.
Oh,
They
right,
had
yeah, I remember you telling me. Yeah.
They had a fishing boat and they burnt. So takes surprisingly long to burn a fishing boat. Now I know this now because I've watched it I watched it in the rain for about an hour and was like, right, I'm done.
Oh, yeah. What a blowout.
The people trapped inside burned much quicker. And Odin was sated. His wrath.
Yeah, no,
was,
they really should have done. They should have had some.
They should
effigies.
have done.
Yeah. They should have had some effigies.
Oh, right.
They used to have effigies there.
Yeah, I thought you
they
meant
used to
they
burn Trump, and they used to burn like Boris Johnson and people,
Jesus.
and they used to have explosives in their head. So when it caught, like their heads would just go boom.
See, I don't have a problem with it. It's the equivalent of just going boo, but just more extravagant. It's an extravagant
Yeah,
boo.
explosions, though.
Yeah, you're not advocating to blowing up
It's
people's
kind of
heads.
it's weird because it's kind of a bit pagan, like the way they do it. Because they have a torchlit parade through the town and stuff, and they drag things.
Do they wassail?
But the thing is, what were they burning like 500 years ago in that town? Like that thing that they do now, where they're walking through with the lights, the torches. You go, well, you're probably doing something a bit more nefarious. You're celebrating something that you probably did burn somebody.
No, I mean there was ritual
Witches?
sacrifice, but yeah, I think the idea that there certainly would have been burning witches up until the 17th century. I think, and then after that, we just started cutting off their heads, and then because that was a bit more moderate. But yes, sorry. So you're going to Rod and James
and Deb.
and Deb.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have a lovely time. It's gonna be the first time. But yeah, no.
So your three cousins all have a house together.
No, well, it's my cousin is Rod and his wife.
Will you be
His
taking them
kid.
any mince
Yeah,
pies?
his kid.
Or
And James is the kid.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
He's doing very well. I think he's at university in London.
The kid.
Yes, he's like 18.
cool, I'll tell you
So
what.
how old is your cousin then?
That ain't long, mate. These are definitely old cakes. Look at the expiry date on that.
2nd of January 2020.
Yeah.
That's well within date.
No,
You
but I'm saying these
could
could last 1,000 years, so these
would
were
last to
originally
February.
given to him at least 2 years
No,
ago.
they weren't. That's fresh. That's all fresh. I promise.
Oh.
So you derailed his story. So
Sorry.
how old is your cousin then? How old is Rod?
50,
50.
50 odd, yeah. I think. Maybe I'm doing a
What was wrong with that?
Yeah,
Nothing.
that
It's just
big.
like that seems like a different.
As I said, I don't have a very big family.
And age is irrelevant.
Yeah, but yeah, no. I suppose one of my happiest Christmas memories, geek life. This is I was at my grandparents' and Christmas Day popped on the telly in the morning, and they had the premiere of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen. I think that was the first Star Wars film I saw. I think it was 5 or 6. I think it was 5. And I had like a little play set thing, and I was like, "Wow, that's so cool." And then I popped this film on, and I was like, no idea what it was, and I was like, "This is amazing! This blew my, this is
Yeah.
blowing my mind! Oh my god, this is cool!" And it's got little teddy bear things in, and I was like, "This is amazing!"
It's your pro Ewok.
So I genuinely thought they were Care Bears
Oh, okay.
for a while. I was
Mongrel
like,
versions.
I genuinely thought they'd done like a crossover.
Have they got their own planet? Is
actually
that what they are?
Yeah.
Moon Endor.
Yeah, they live on the moon of
right.
Endor.
And are they? I was going to say, are they teddy bears? But I don't know what I mean by that. What are they? Bears?
Well, they are
type of
bears,
grizzly
They're
yeah.
bear?
little teddy bear things.
But what are they spoken as being? Monkeys or bears?
Well, they're not even called Ewoks in the film, are they? No one says Ewoks. I think that's something that came afterwards.
That's probably the toy line, wasn't it? Because
Yeah, 'cause
everything
it's-
gets a name and a.
Yeah, because so many times, it's like Bib Fortuna.
But what good are they in a Star Wars film? They can't do much, can they?
Well, they
They're 2 foot tall or something.
yeah, but they have all the spears and they have traps and things.
They defeated the Empire.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean they've got the.
I love
a
with Family
spaceship.
Guy when it's like it's too cute with the Ewoks. I want you to, and he's got a gun. He's holding some Imperials hostage.
It's like
and he's-
execute him.
yeah, he's like, I want you to stab him in the mouth and cut off his face and wear it and go see his family. And they're like, Jesus, Han, calm down. He's like, this is too cute with the Ewoks. He's just having
Need to
a
get
rant.
dark on this. Yeah.
Do they use them in the modern
Dig
films?
your own graves.
No.
No.
Although I haven't seen the new ones.
I'm spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
Apparently, I think there's an Ewok cameo or two. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I've got to go back to Endor, don't they?
Yeah, I would
So,
imagine there's probably like every character who's ever been in Star Wars has probably got a cameo.
Except for one I can think of.
Who's that?
Mr. Binks. I don't think he's coming
Oh, yeah, but they should do. They should be like, you
Who's
know
Mr.
what?
Binks?
Fuck Jar Jar Binks.
Oh.
Because all the...
back.
everyone
Misa says that you're going to die.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought it was that grizzly bear thing.
Oh, Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. Yeah.
I've got a Chewie
No, that's
Christmas
Kermit.
jumper.
But
Chewie,
get through his
punch it.
repertoire of instant.
Yeah. It's basically all the same impression. Just like,
it's a good solid base there.
do
You can work
your
work from
Donald
that.
Trump impression.
Yeah, this is going to be the best trade deal.
I can't do it.
You broke the light bulb.
Yeah, exactly. That was a bit high pitched. Bit of a strain there.
So you haven't had any amazing Christmas? That was just watching the Jedi film.
Yeah,
that
but
was
that's
a
a
good
fun
one. That's a
Christmas
happy
memory.
memory when I was
Oh, that's
five.
good, yeah.
We
Yeah,
know
about
yours,
Christmas
which
is.
is kind of oddly touching, but kind of, where you went and traipsed and stared through the window of your friend's house.
No, I used to go to people's houses and put
Yeah.
cards through the doors,
Aw.
and didn't tell them who it was for years. Then I realized somebody moved.
They were all,
and hadn't told me.
they were all ransom notes. They were protection things. It'd be a
Pictures of
shame if
knives.
your house burned down, wouldn't it?
I like Christmas because everyone's sort of happy and they're just sort of like it goes back to traditional times, and I sort of like
Yeah.
that. I was in a Sports Direct the other day, and I was just walking.
What could be more Christmassy?
No, that's the thing, and they were playing Christmas music,
Yeah.
and I just sort of felt sad. Like this isn't. I don't know what this is. This is ugly.
What do you mean?
Sports Direct.
Imagine working there and,
Yeah, I
and
thought,
sat there in an
don't
overlit Sports
poison
Direct
Christmas by being playing shitty Christmas music in this place. Like it's not for here. They don't care though. No one cares. I told you before when I was in Leicester Square on Christmas, and it was the lights, and it had a big Marmite jar in amongst all the lights. I thought, oh, they've paid for that, have they? That's
Yeah.
Oh,
that's Marmite jar.
But that's sponsorship. I mean, Oxford.
We'll stick a box of
Oxford
fags
Street.
up there. Then it's the same thing to me. It doesn't make any flashing like the red bit at the end that glows.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit different.
Marlboros.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, Marmite, I don't turn it round and it's got a picture of a dude
Lung.
with like a tumour. There's that one. There's
It's as
Give it a few years, and those health warnings had to come
Oh, there
in,
will
yeah.
be, yeah.
That's as ugly to me. Is Christmas should be a sort of sacrosanct thing where you're not allowed to have any.
So you're not with
influence in it.
you're not with the Coca-Cola holidays are coming van. They've started putting that on
ugly.
jumpers and T-shirts now. It's like, oh, it's a retro throwback.
I've
thing,
seen, people.
I
wear
thought you
them.
would hate that. I was tempted to buy you a T-shirt just so you could burn it.
But it's the opposite. It's the opposite of Christmas. It's not just not Christmas. It's the opposite. Of
I never
Christmas.
think it's an odd.
Like the whole fact that it becomes busy and everyone's rushing around. You go, oh, for God's sake! It's
Yeah.
nothing to do with anything to do.
I think it's I think there's, for me, there's quite a nice fun thing of doing the Christmas shopping. Of like, oh, wouldn't so and so like that? Or
But
you
it
know,
now
like
it's
one
because
of
of the value of things. It's nothing to do with the gift.
Yeah, I
It's
wouldn't. I
what
don't want to be.
I
yeah.
want that thing and I wanted that
Yeah, yeah,
game,
that's
and
a
you go,
shame, yeah.
that's just shit. That's nothing.
Yeah.
There needs to be some. The only thing, things only ever change is when like fascists get involved, which annoys me because I don't want a fascist to get involved and say, right, we're no
What,
longer
cancel Christmas.
no like classical Christmases. No more. There's buying shit. You're not allowed to buy, but you have to force
Just a
people.
Satsuma.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
It was like a meeting time. Was it's nothing to do with no more presents. How about that? No more presents.
I'm not getting on board with that.
I think our economic system has certainly changed the way Christmas
Yeah.
is.
It's been
prac-
bought.
is
It's
practiced.
been bought by private companies. That's what
Well,
it's-
I think they've done something clever because it's as we become more secular, they've managed to keep Christmas as a tradition and kind of
yeah, monetize
slightly
it.
but slightly separated as well from its as a religious ceremony. Because I had this conversation with a few people. I had this conversation with a couple of Hindus, and I was just like, "Oh, Happy Christmas." I was saying goodbye. I was like, "Happy Christmas." Enjoy the Christmas period. And they're like, "Well, I'm not celebrating Christmas."
Yeah, but don't they have surely you would have the day off and just be like,
Yeah,
well,
they
because
were
they
they were
coming
working
round.
over Christmas. They were working solid. They
what,
was-
Christmas Day?
Yeah, Christmas Day. And this is another
Oh.
day. And I was just like, and I had this conversation. I said, that's a bit of a shame because, like,
Yeah, I'm not saying they need to like start and singing carol, but it's just like, oh, I'll have an extra
but I
day off,
understand
like
that.
a bank holiday.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. And
that's what I would.
and I said that's a bit of a shame, But but it is. But lots of people will celebrate
What
Christmas.
Sorry, what do they keep what are they doing on Christmas Day? What job?
Some
That
fruit
was
and
a-
veg store.
No, that was like a hotel or something. So
Oh, well, yeah, you can sort of because people go
someone,
to hotels.
Still got
for-
work.
someone
Yeah,
has
yeah,
to,
yeah.
someone has
Minicabs and
to
things.
man
Yeah.
the
Yeah, but it's like,
you know what I mean?
pubs, isn't it? People go to pubs for Christmas Day.
Flights,
They do,
airline
you know,
pilots.
People
yeah.
do. Lots of people.
Do people fly on Christmas Day? Are there flights on
Probably
Christmas Day?
cheap, isn't
I
I
it?
thought it's Christmas.
You know
Eve and
what? I
Boxing
think
Day.
there probably are flights.
Ah.
There's no trains, but I think there are flights.
What's wrong with that? Get off your ass. That's what annoys me about Christmas. Nobody does sod all.
Yeah, I
Answer-
don't
answer
say
your
that's
emails.
No, it's
God,
good.
no.
I like the idea that you just have there's like a special day just to ideally think about other people and ideally to give gifts and to
Yeah,
maybe
but the
think about
lead up
something
to it
more than
ruins
yourself.
the day. If you've every shop's been crammed full of things. You've had Coca-Cola adverts on the thing. It's been bought out. It's been purchased.
But it's like we were talking about with Thanksgiving. I think it's a nice idea that you can get together with your family and just for a day
Yeah,
sit
I
down,
think
sit down and
Christmas
break
Day,
bread,
all
have a
shops
drink,
should be
watch some
closed
Pixar
by
films.
law. So you're enforced. That's what annoyed me about
Christmas Day, yeah, well they are.
No, you got Haringey, mate. There's like Las Vegas on Christmas Day is all open. Nobody gives a shit.
True, so some of the service.
That's what I disliked about
Yeah, that's
Sundays.
sad.
When Sundays, and not about the religious thing, but when I remember I must have been young, and like they started saying shops could open on a Sunday, but I still remember they weren't allowed to open. And it was like it felt like a bank holiday where it was just dead, and people had to do things, and people went to the parks with their families and all
Yeah.
that.
Again,
And then it
yeah.
changed, and now it's this 24
It's like
hour.
boxing. It's Boxing Day, isn't it? It's like the sales style. on
Yeah, it's
Boxing Day.
ridiculous.
I'm so glad I got out of retail before that happened. God,
I
hate
remember
it.
where I sort of grew up. There used to be early closing on Tuesdays, so like Tuesday afternoon, like everything would be closed. Like when I go down the coast, like Tuesday afternoons, everything was closed.
Why Tuesday?
I don't know. I think it was something to do with the banks or something, so they could go to the bank.
Oh yeah, that rings a bell. Yeah.
So like they'd have. So this is when they had trading laws. So everything was closed on Sunday, and then Tuesday
because
afternoons.
banks wouldn't open on the weekend, would they?
No.
Because now they can open Saturday.
Yeah,
was
they
it?
usually Saturday to about lunchtime. Some the bigger ones anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, they used to have Tuesday. So Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday morning, you had to go out and get food and stuff because everything was closed. That's mental. I mean, that's like some Victorian shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So no weird Christmas stories then. Did you believe in Santa?
Up to a point, yeah. I don't specifically remember when I stopped believing.
No?
No.
What about you, Charles?
As I said, I don't think I ever really did, which is
No.
a shame. I like the whole thing of getting a stocking and sweets, and in fact, I still do have a stocking
I wish
that
we
gets
still have
filled.
What?
Oh, look at that!
That was
Knocks the
impressive.
hats off my.
How do what?
Yeah, we stopped doing stockings. I was like, no.
Yeah,
It's
I like the
fun of
idea
it,
that
yeah.
it limits what you can get. If it doesn't go in there, mate, you're not getting it.
No, I'm a stocking. Am I?
Oh no, this is a bonus.
PlayStations won't go in.
Oh no,
yeah,
no, this
no.
is a little bonus.
Yeah, but it's
just
only meant to be
rounds full of
like
chocolate.
little, yeah, like little fun things.
Yeah, that's what I like the idea of that. Not there's a PlayStation, there's a VCR. Isn't there?
Yeah, I do think that kids get kind of too much. Like we've obviously bought lots of toys for my nephew, but we haven't bought him. He's 4.5. He's not getting like electronic crap and stuff. He's got a lot of like building and
No, but
construction
eventually
toys.
they're going to get to like
Nah,
7
they
and on
won't,
a laptop.
No, my sister-in-law in particular is very strict about like he can't have this, he can't have that. They don't have a TV. I think they have a telly in his room, and he's allowed to watch very limited sort of things like Noddy and. But he's called
That's-
Mr. Wee Wee in French.
He's got
so-
enough. You've got enough time to play video.
Yeah, exactly.
You're
like,
going to have the rest of your life to watch.
well,
to sit
what we
watch
did buy
telly
him
and
was
YouTube,
because
aren't you?
obviously kids are a bit like dogs in that they don't understand that they're not like a dog doesn't understand it's not a person. So once I
Right.
sit at the table and have the food with you, and also because dogs are greedy. Little kids, don't understand that they're not big people, so they don't understand. Well, why can't I drive the car, and why
Yeah.
can't I have? Yeah, my nephew Kieran, he's obsessed with having. He wants a motorbike. We're like, yeah, he can't really. He don't. The concept that even his legs couldn't reach for pedals is.
Well, I've
doesn't
seen it, I wanna do
Yeah,
it.
exactly. But because he's seen big people doing it,
Right, yeah.
so he would see us. It's not like we're sat there like on our phones ignoring him, but he might see like one of us gets a message or something like that, or whatever. He's thinking. So he wants one. So we just bought him like silly kids versions of them, and we're happy for him to have that. But we don't want him to be one of these kids. Because you do see kids that young with kiddie versions. But I mean the electronic ones. I'm not talking Disney ones where it goes, oh, Mickey's giving you a call. Actual kiddie version ones of these things. And you think, God,
Don't.
yeah.
I was in the shop the other day, and there was a mother. She was obviously very stressed, but like the kid in a pushchair, kid's about 1 or 2 or something.
Yeah.
About 2, maybe 3. and just crying and freaking out and screaming and stuff. And she just goes, and she just pulled out her phone.
They just become babies.
And just gave, and just gave the phone. Literally dangled the phone in front. And the baby's like, oh, well, cool. And she just popped on a game or something.
Turn the kid into a junkie.
And I was just like, really, try talking to the kid. You know what I mean? Try
it's more, exactly. I do think there's so many times you see, and again, I don't have children, but so many times you see like kids.
It's
just like,
easy to parent when you don't have them.
You have not spoken to this child once here. I'm not like I'm following you around, but we're doing this. It's like, you're going around the museum and they're just dragging them around. It's like, stop and explain what these things are. Yeah. You're just killing time.
I remember being one of the worst things I ever saw was in Tesco, and there was a kid crying or something. Must have looked like a kid, I don't know. What are they when they were like 2 feet tall?
I don't know. Yeah, that's a kid. I don't know I don't know how old that is.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I could hear crying and crying and crying. And then when I went round the corner, the mum and the dad were both on their knees talking, what's wrong. I mean, the guy had shorts on, which annoyed me. He didn't have flip-flops. He didn't have the full moron costume on. But both of them were on their knees.
And it wasn't a hot day.
Looking up at the kid going, what's wrong? You go, are you fucking mad? I'll tell you what's wrong. The kid has no respect for you whatsoever. The man, forget it. I can't tell who's the man and who the woman there is. There's no dominance in there at all. They're looking. And I was thinking,
how many listeners do you reckon that cost?
There was no strong role model till that child. I say what's wrong is you're both on your hands and knees.
I'm not talking about mollycoddling, but if a child is crying, you ask why it's crying, and if it's just acting, because sometimes kids just want to cry and they just want to be at the attention, and you just go. Sometimes you just ignore it. Like my nephew the other day I can't remember we were in some pub and he just had a little cry because he wanted some juice. And we just said, you can't have any juice, and he was like, and then 5 minutes later you've forgotten about it.
It's fine. Carry on crying.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was just like, look, he's a little bit tired, he's hungry, he wants to have a little cry while we're waiting for the food to come. Whatever, just let him do it. But yeah, I wouldn't. There's a balancing out between that kind of mollycoddling of like, oh, tell us what's wrong. I mean, if the child looks like it's hurt itself crying, then yeah, because
it's just that.
Well, I think it's important to even talk about. Just say, look, your behaviour is unacceptable in public environments.
But you don't get on your knees and look.
Well, no,
I think
that's sort of no. It was wrong, but you just say, look, okay, we do this stuff when you just explain. I think a lot of problems is that parents don't explain enough to their kids. It's like, shut up and get in the back. We're going. Where are we going? I don't care. Just get in the back.
Of parenting, though. That's
you just explain stuff to the kids, just so they know what's going on, and they go, "Oh, okay, right." I think. But as I said, it's easy to parent when you don't have any kids.
No, I don't buy that. I don't buy that bollocks at all. I don't buy that.
Is the magazine going to have a parenting section?
Anti-parenting. This is how you do it properly.
Anti-parenting.
No, in terms of anti-modern parenting. We just go back to the days where the kids scared of you and they shut up when they don't scream and cry in front of you.
I do think there's a little bit. There is something to be said.
There's no point mollycoddling it till it's 6, 7 years old and start reading books about how to control your child. You shouldn't have had kids when you did. You were dumb.
On the tube here, there's a family got on. I think it was 3 kids, and they were just saying, "Oh, do you want like a little juice box?" Just asking up the line, as it were. And one of them just ignoring them. So like, oh, I guess he doesn't want one. And then like, because he's on his phone, looked like he was playing a game or whatever. And then suddenly looks up and goes, "Yeah, I'll have one." And it's like, they put it back in the bag. If that was my parents, they'd been like, "No."
Yeah, it's not even.
It's back in the bag now, so I'm not kidding. But they got it out for him.
Oh,
I mean, he was enormous. I reckon he probably could have.
I'm surprised he didn't just carry on playing it and just put his arm out like that. Just
he did. Oh no, he didn't say thank you or look away. He put it down to drink, but he didn't look at his parents who were giving him the drink and asking him.
Well, just the fact that he's out playing a game in public anyway.
It's a little bit. I mean, you don't know you don't necessarily know what the circumstances, but. It's a bit naughty when you're with your family, just to be like, I'll quickly might reply to a message or something like that, but I'm not sat there on the whole time or take a little picture.
I see it more and more, like working at events and stuff. Like a couple of times, quite often now, I see the gang of lads turn up, and you go, "Oi, oi, trouble's about,"
What do you say that to them?
Well, I think it. Cause I got a dozen young men in shirts
going,
the banter bus has just pulled in.
The Archbishop of Banterbury.
Trouble ahoy. You know what I mean? I think, and then these guys, it's going to get rowdy now. And they're like, oi, oi, let's do some shots. Right? And they all sit down, and then everyone just pulls their phones out, and everyone sits in silence, like for a few hours, just messaging.
It's their babysitter.
And I'm like, guys, what happened?
Yeah.
You used to be like tearing shit up. You used to be like just pulling things off the walls.
You
And
used to
going
be
mad.
snapping your
Fight and
fingers
break
and
it
going,
up
"Oi,
amongst yourselves."
darling."
Yeah, it used to be sexually harassing all the ladies. I mean, what's
Yeah, maybe
going on?
actually it's a good thing there. We've got these,
Smashing up bus stops. I
Yeah.
mean, what happened?
I was in the gym the other day and had 5 people on their phones. I had 4 the other week, and 5 of them were sat there on their phones,
But doing what though? What like
texting or whatever.
yeah, but what are they doing in the? Are they using gym equipment while they're
Yeah, I
texting?
mean, they're in there, not just sort of wandering around. They're amongst their exercising, they stop and get the phone out and just stare at the
Oh.
phone for 2 minutes and flip YouTube and all that. And you go,
Oh, well,
It's-
you're allowed to watch stuff when you're doing things.
no, why the TVs in the I was thinking the other day, I was in the gym and I was thinking, why am I watching some antique show? Why is this in here? When did this start?
So
It's
that
the
would,
thing I
that
wanna
would
come-
place him at or pre-lunch. I'm saying that's Bargain Hunt you were watching.
It was early, yeah.
Cash
it
in
was
the
like 10
Attic.
o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, Cash in the Attic.
But
Carl Booty.
I was looking at it going, why is this here? Who put this here? Why is there a TV in this place? Forget the phones. Why are you on the...
They say you don't bother the trainers.
But you're a junkie. In the future, when they're looking back and going, the technological, all these junkies that were stuck to their phones, I'm watching it play out.
Well, now they're saying
You
that
can't be in a
young
gym.
people are getting carpal tunnel syndrome because of they're calling it selfie wrist.
Oh, so
Oh, yeah.
Which,
yeah.
Sounds
But
like it's a bit
nobody's saying
saucier than it
anything
is.
about
Selfie
this.
cramp, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
like it's this pervasion of it's into everything. It's in everything.
Yeah, we are just going to end up like those big fat people in Wally.
But just
Oh.
I can't. I
can't wait, and I can't
I, for
wait.
one, welcome.
Yeah.
But
our
why
big
don't
fat
we
future.
ever sort things out as human beings before it? Why don't we? Can we watch it playing out but do nothing about it?
Because it's in your nature to destroy yourselves.
yes, just leave it at that. But it's so ugly. I want to say to people, do you not know how ridiculous?
I did
that
the wrong
is?
impression there, didn't I? Sorry, I just realised that.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's in your nature to destroy yourselves.
One generic.
Yeah, exactly.
Sort of twang.
Well, I tried to do Arnold Schwarzenegger. Then I
It was
realised-
too good. It was
Yeah,
too good. I
exactly.
got it
the
straight
vocal
away.
cords were set
Yeah,
up for
exactly.
Kermit. Or
So, set to Kermit.
Christmas films? Any Christmas films at the moment?
They're probably. I mean, there's that last Christmas film that's being panned.
With Amelia Clarke.
Yeah, but it's one of these weird ones where everyone's panning it. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Critics have panned it and said it's rubbish, blah blah blah. But it's
Oh, it's found an
made,
it'll
yeah,
find an
it's made loads
audience,
of money.
yeah.
A bit like Greatest Showman did a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And,
There are
Cats,
some.
Cats has been universally lambasted.
I suspect Cats will. I don't know if it'll make a ton of money, but it will certainly make some money.
but
They
they're even
re-released it, didn't
yeah.
they? They re-released it. Because
they after probably less than a week they've reissued it. Like because they went back and made some changes
Oh, they
again.
did
yeah.
like an edit or something.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
jeez.
maybe did some because everyone's. just
Oh,
like,
that's
what
a
is this?
shame because I bet that first cut's dog shit
Yeah,
as well.
I kind of.
I-
want to go
I
and see
really
it.
no,
want to
people.
see
I
it.
saw the articles. People were saying that the when they were running and moving, the faces sort of slipped off the faces.
Oh,
like the CG was like the
no.
faces would move and it didn't hold on to the.
A
That's
lot
like-
of they got like CGI cat suits. Like
Yeah, it's a bit
it's
weird.
not
But you
costumes.
can make real
it's-
cat
yeah.
suits, so why do it? Why do the cheap version of?
It's bizarre. The whole thing. I mean, I think if
Like,
you
I don't even like. I try to keep like decent standards up in things I do, and it's like Hollywood.
Have you
your
seen the-
cheap standards?
Have you
It
seen
is-
the trailer?
Nobody checked this.
Did you
No,
see the trailer?
no.
If you just watch the trailer, when the trailer came out, and it was just like, I was like, oh my god, this looks like such a mess. Oh my
Really?
god, I would.
There was a massive thing though, wasn't it, that when the trailer dropped? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think they were hoping like, this will get everyone talking about, because obviously this year it was Avengers Endgame and then and now Rise of Skywalker. Those were the two, but that was all anyone was talking about really.
maybe Joker for a bit.
And Joker, actually,
Yeah.
yes, I beg your pardon, yes. And so it was like, hey, we'll drop this thing, and people will be, and it'll be alternative programming for Star Wars, and everyone just went, you what? You what? But it's always, and it is one of the things you go, who signed off on that?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
went, you can understand the director's done something, and you're in there, and it's your thing, and you go, yeah, this is great, and this, it's with anything. A book needs an editor,
And proofread.
newspapers, yeah,
It's
yeah.
just someone to show as well, saying,
Yeah.
hey, am I on the right track here?
Yeah, absolutely. Anything. Art, painters need someone to come in and go, well, hopefully someone, perhaps less so, but you need someone that's going to go, maybe try a little bit. But so who went, you think like the amount of, we hear so much with films, the interference from studios, this and that, or the director took his name off because he
the
was
amount
so
of people
furious.
who would have had to sign off on
Yeah.
this and who looked at it and went, Yeah, this is good.
is
This
acceptable.
is going to do well.
Well,
Yeah.
I said last week I was listening to the Schwarzenegger biography again, and he was talking about The Last Actor in Hero and how it
I
went
feel like we
tits
need a
up.
buzzer for Trump mentions and Schwarzenegger.
Well, it's only because it's
mentions.
recent news in my life.
Yeah.
But he was talking about why Last Action Hero failed,
Yeah.
and I think it was released like a week after Jurassic Park.
Yeah, it was.
And you go,
Who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah.
again, not just some bloke went, yeah, bung it out then. You go, there's so many layers you have to go through. I don't understand how these mistakes get made. I
Yeah.
don't know what goes on.
I like Last Action Hero. I think it's
It's
a good
fun.
I think it's a
Well,
good
I was listening to
film.
a
I think it's
review of
quite
it.
clever as well.
Well, that's the thing. I listened to a review of it recently, a couple of weeks ago, and they were saying, oh, it was actually really ahead of its time because
Yeah.
now sort of the fan thing of knowing and, oh, there's a joke there about itself and being ironic about itself, that was not done then. And
No.
go, now it is, and, you know, doing little nods to this and that.
Well, it's
Well,
a
it's
He
a
said
very
at the
silly
time-
literate kind of film as
Yeah,
well.
but
But
isn't
back
it?
then, you
Yeah.
didn't have that sort of internet-y thing where they had that sort. So
Yeah.
he was saying it was the people that are criticising it said it's actually a very good film. Like the
Yeah,
way
yeah.
it's done and the narrative on its own and all that. It's a very good film.
It's a film about people who realise that they are in a film.
Yeah.
And that's a really clever idea.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, and all the conventions of it.
Yeah.
I love it when the bad guy goes to the real world for the first time. He just walks up and just shoots some guy in the street, and then like he's like, "Hello,
He goes, I've killed somebody.
I've killed somebody,"
And I did
and
it
then,
on
like,
purpose.
and someone just goes, "Yeah," and
Shut up.
and he goes, "Shut up."
Oh, yeah, he
And
goes
it's just
into the
like,
petrol
oh.
station. He goes, do you mind if I test out a theory on you? He goes, yeah. He goes, bang, 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 bang. I've killed a man, and I did it on purpose.
I mean, that's really dark.
Shut
yeah,
up
yeah.
down there.
Because that's Charles Dance, isn't it? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it Charles Dance? Is it?
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
he's
it
a
is,
famous
isn't it?
actor.
But yeah, it's a good, I wouldn't
Pre-Tywin.
mind watching that again, actually.
Yeah, it's a good film. But again, yeah, because the thing about it, you can understand them going, "Oh, who knows about this dinosaur film?" I bet it's like it's a fucking Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah.
Forget everything else.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And
who-
the bestseller as well. It was a bestseller before.
yeah,
that,
yeah.
so.
It's not. I'm not a big fan of the book. I'd read the book a couple of years back. And I was like,
Jurassic Park book.
Yeah.
Why would you
It's
bother
also got
reading
really.
that?
Well, just curious.
I
what
There's
it
no
was like.
CGI in it, though.
Yeah,
Forget
exactly.
it. That's what
But
I've come to see.
I read it when I was a kid.
Yeah,
I read
I-
that in the Lost World, and it was
Yeah.
okay.
It's got a really funny bit though, where the T-Rex gets in the water and swims, and I found it really hard not to imagine with this little T-Rex arms.
Donald Trump flippers. But a T-Rex can't swim.
Well, I think that was sort of what the film. Well, because they go on a raft to get away from it.
Oh.
I think I think it doesn't properly chase him. It sort of doggy paddles.
Right, okay.
But they're like, we've got to get away because
Yeah.
obviously it could doggy paddle close to us and.
But that's like reading a book of the Avatar. Like, no, the point is the CGI.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
just gonna-
It was just from a place of curiosity. I was like, oh, I wonder what this is, and sometimes it's interesting to read a book and go, what change? You know, if you're interested in sort of storytelling and things like that, and it's just like, how did you adapt this? What did you cut? What you got to change? Where? You know, that sort of thing. And it is quite. It's only the bare. It's the premise, isn't it? Some of the characters, and it's
Effectively,
but yeah, it's
so
okay.
nothing
A
Christmas.
serviceable thriller.
No, there's nothing. There probably is like some kids type, you know, family, all fun for all the family. You know, 'cause
Frozen 2, I think,
Oh,
is
yeah,
doing
true, but that
a
was-
ton of money. It has been
Yeah.
released for a while, but it's
Yeah.
Christmas. Isn't it?
I remember a few Christmases ago, I was I had to move the my computer around. Anyway, the plug socket wasn't working, so I put it by the window, and I came back at night, like midnight, and there was a kebab shop open opposite the road from me, and I just saw somebody go in there.
Did you have a kebab for Christmas?
No,
Oh,
and then they
right.
came out, and somebody else went in, and then I just started to notice how many people going into going into a kebab shop at Christmas, and they're all on their own.
Christmas Day,
Christmas night, I was in there,
Oh.
looking out the window.
Christmas night's a bit.
And I thought, that's odd. And I think I got up to about 12 people, all on their own. Something, and that's 12 people that are on their own. Like, you wouldn't pop out for
But
one.
then maybe that might be a shift worker thing as well. I don't know if you're working in.
You're being charitable there, I think.
Yeah, I don't.
But you think you just want to go home, like, yeah. And I just thought, there's a lot of, like, I don't want to drop mode, but I'm doing some, in the morning, I'm going to a church to help out, just to do some clean-up work from the night before. But they showed me some photographs of the people that had been there the year before, and there's like 50 people. And I thought, there's 50 people have chosen to go into a small church. You know, they're not
Yeah.
being invited to, what's a big church in London, a Royal Church, Abbey.
What,
Yeah.
Westminster Abbey.
Westminster Abbey, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like you've been like these. And I thought I was quite nice people about. Like they've chosen.
Does
for all the
Westminster
stuff.
Abbey function as an abbey, or is it just a tourist attraction now? 'Cause
I
obviously you've got
think
some
they
pools.
do some services there.
Yeah, you said do.
If you've got a triple
I did.
barreled name, you're allowed. to
I
go.
think you might have to book or something, but they do. I think they do some.
No, he's done. He's gone doubled up on it.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's the Christmas podcast.
Yeah, exactly. There are no Christmas films. Throw your presents in the bin.
With no Oh no, what?
know
Cracking your
what?
nuts.
Griswold's Family Christmas.
Watch Krampus. That's Christmas for you. Kid
Krampus.
dies at the end.
Watch Scrooged with Bill Murray.
Scrooged is
That's a good film, yeah.
Scrooge is actually probably one of my
Yeah, that's
favourite
quite He
Scrooge
tries to
adaptations.
staple the antlers onto the mouse.
Yeah.
I do like the Muppets Christmas Carol as well.
Ah,
though.
yeah, now you're
That's a
talking,
good-
mate.
that's
Yeah.
good.
And obviously that means I get to. No, I'm not going to do my curl.
Oh,
I'm doing
yeah.
another curl.
I thought, we
I'm
fell
gonna
for that
keep
one.
dropping it
He's
in,
winged it in again.
I'm just going to keep doing really long walks to take us to Kermit impression.
But do you watch anything on Christmas, like with families, any specific film?
It's a Wonderful Life. We watch.
Is that the one when he commits suicide?
He's about to.
Oh, yeah, I
commit
haven't actually seen it,
suicide.
yeah.
And his guardian angel Clarence comes down and shows because he said, actually, no, I wish I'd never been born. So his guardian angel comes down and shows him what's the world would
Oh,
be
it's like
if
Muppet
he'd-
Christmas Carol, that sort of thing.
It's a bit like kind
Oh.
of Christmas Carol, yeah.
Yeah.
And he shows him what the world would be like if he'd never been born and never had an impact. And it shows that he's
Oh.
actually mattered, even though he's lived a small life in a small town. He's not really done a lot. He's
had an
impacted
impact,
other people.
yeah.
Had a positive impact on the world and the people around him.
Have you got any top tips for Christmas? What you should be up to? Anything? Give somebody a hug or something?
Give someone a hug if they want a hug. Don't
Yeah.
go around just
yeah,
touching
times have
people.
changed.
Yeah,
You've got to clarify
Don't.
what we mean.
that would be the. No, I just think just embrace the thing and just be nice to people, and then carry
Embrace
that.
the thing.
you know,
and be
embrace
nice.
the holly,
spirit of it.
jolliness of Christmas, but carry that on.
And have a mince pie.
Have a mince
Share
pie.
a mince pie with somebody else. That was always brilliant. Oh, what's the? Oh, bollocks! I'm not going to remember it. There's where mistletoe comes from. It's a Norse story, and it's with Thor and Loki.
Oh, okay.
Oh well, there's the bit
There's
where
a
they have a
trick.
darts and they end up
that's it,
they
yeah.
end up killing one of the other gods because it's the one thing he's allergic to. It's a bit sort of the Achilles heel.
Yeah, it's something to do with Thor's
Balder, I
mum.
think it is.
Boulder. That was it,
Yeah, but I can't remember. I don't know where the kiss.
it's a
comes
kiss
in
for
from.
mistletoe. It's a kiss for forgiveness. That's what it
Oh,
is.
because his wife Nana throws herself on the funeral pyre. I don't know. It's a really holly jolly story.
yeah, it's
a friend
but
getting
it's
accidentally
it's
killed.
a kiss of forgiveness to Loki for trying to get somebody killed. I think.
Yeah.
That naughty Loki.
Oh, I
Yeah.
think I can't remember. Yeah, that.
Yeah, he tricked somebody into doing something. I think Thor's got
He
some
gets
sort
his
of
he gets
so
his
mischievous, isn't
he
he?
gets his
Yeah.
comeuppance though. At
yeah,
the
it's
battle
something
of-
to do with
at-
Thor
at
gets
the battle
they
of
have to- yeah,
Ragnarok.
it's something to do with darts. Have to do something.
You will never be a god.
Oh no, I'm talking about the actual Ragnarok.
Oh, okay. I was talking about
Yeah.
Infinity War.
I can't remember who kills him now. In,
It's
Ra-
and
in
the-
Ragnarok,
it's
in,
supposed to have
not
in-
Thanos. I mean,
No.
in the actual Ragnarok,
In the actual,
he dies
legends.
quite early on.
I didn't
Yeah,
see that one.
Okay.
because it's Heimdall. Maybe Heimdall kills him. I can't. No,
in the Phil Ragnarok.
no, in
No,
actual
in the actual
Norse
Norse mythology,
mythology,
yeah.
because most of the gods are killed. I think one or two. I think it's 1 plus 2, a man and a woman.
I tried to watch that Ragnarok film, whatever it's called.
Ragnarok.
But it was just the Hulk and Thor. It turned
Yeah.
into stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, well, I've been watching a comedy show.
Yeah,
so-
it's-
I like bits of it. It's one of those films you're like, oh, this needs a trim on all the jokey sequences.
So, some of the jokes didn't land,
Well,
but
no,
it had
because
enough.
It kind of reminded me of the film of. I haven't seen Hunt for the Wilder People. I'm told it's very funny, but it kind of reminded me of the same Taika Waititi when he did. I think he was the co-director of What We Do in the Shadows, the film. And watching that, you go, this is kind of like a comedy sketch or a short thing that you've made an hour and a half long, and it's dragging a bit here. And then they've done a TV series. It's about 25 minutes, really funny. You go, this is what the.
It also has a phone jacker in it, who's great.
Yeah, yeah.
And Matt Berry, who's
Yeah.
great.
What's a
and
phone
the
jacker?
lady as well. Who's, what's her
crap,
name?
I forgot her name now.
She's got, I think she's Polish, or she has a Polish name. Or
I know.
Romanian name.
Yeah.
She's Eastern European, so.
Yeah. She's,
She's in that. Steph does flats as well.
Yeah,
She's-
Staff lets flats.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What the hell are you talking about?
sorry,
We'll go a bit
television is an invention from
Yeah.
because you don't watch the TV,
No, so the TV.
the television.
So yeah, that was Christmas.
Yeah.
As I said, it's more somber this year because Pierre's off. This is the last Pierre's last show.
It is Pierre's last show.
But he's going on to better things. So there's a.
Are you going on to better things?
Well, he's got a
I mean, I didn't
full-time
mean
job.
that sounded more challenging than I meant. I just meant like,
And Krem's not here, so. But it'll be a big extravaganza next year.
Karem's going to come
We'll
back.
do
Can you imagine how many cakes his wife must make for Christmas time?
I'm surprised he's not huge. Genuinely, I'd be huge.
This is Karem, our producer, and his good lady wife makes delicious cakes. Sometimes we treated them in. But it's just like, how is he not enormous?
I know.
I can see Charles turning up with these from last year. The mince pies. Remember these?
I'm very grateful for your free mince pies.
No, yeah, you've
that
done
you
very
do
well.
buy.
Someone is.
You're the only one that hasn't had any. Do you not? Oh, you said you don't like mince pies.
really.
Have a
So why did you-
Florentine. Have a Florentine.
have a
instead.
Florentine.
I will in a sec.
Why did you not?
They're not
Why
very
do you buy them if you don't
podcast-friendly.
like them? If you did buy them,
Maybe I did.
You were given these, weren't
wherever
you?
these go from.
You were given these from a job. It was like a
Is it
in lieu of a
Debbie?
Christmas
She-
bonus.
I found them in the bin. I've
Yeah.
got to be honest.
So the company I no longer work for, but this was hilarious. I won't name them. I can say stuff about it in a couple of weeks. But
Trash talk.
Yeah, I can
What
try.
you want.
But it was just the
You
funny
want to
thing.
get that final check through
Yeah, exactly.
first.
No, actually, they have paid me my
Okay.
anyway. But I'm technically contracted for another 8 days.
Okay.
Anyway, 8-9 days. We got an email being like, "It's been a challenging year," because we kept getting these emails. We're like, "Why are we even on this email list anymore?" Anyhow, it was we've had some challenges this year, but overall things have been great. And as a company, we're always trying to look forward and see how we can do better for climate change. So in lieu of a company bonus, we're planting 1,600 trees.
Oh,
was like,
that is so
But,
offensive.
but I also just thought, I wonder, sir, are you still getting your Christmas?
Yeah.
Are you still getting a Christmas bonus?
There
this
should have
year?
definitely been a "Dear Sir," and respond.
Yeah, yeah.
Or,
well,
again, the check hasn't cleared.
yeah, exactly. But it was just like, really?
Yeah, it would be better to not say anything.
Yeah.
Like, all that has done is antagonise people by saying that.
Yeah,
And-
but there's a thing in Friends where they're all having to work Christmas, and Chandler, not all of them, sorry, one of the characters is working, and he's trying to rally the troops and be like, "Oh, I know it sucks that we're here for Christmas and blah blah blah, or it might be Thanksgiving, whatever."
Yeah, living
You
in
know,
a
we're all-
multi-million-pound flat.
No,
and
but
hard-
this is where he's got some job in Tulsa in Oklahoma, so he has to work away. It's only a short part of the story now, but. And he says, don't worry, we've all got our Christmas bonuses. That'll make it up for us. And he just says, a donation has been made in your name to some, I can't remember what it is, a cat shelter. And it's that kind of thing. It was like, instead of giving you some extra money, here's a tree. And you're okay, that is great. We do need to plant more trees. You could have paid for that anyway, and you probably got a tax break.
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
probably offsetting your
Yeah, yeah,
carbon
definitely,
footprint,
yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
going to the company's.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
benefit.
And but it's also like, did you take a?
Yeah, is it one of those trees yours?
Yeah, exactly. It was it was a little bit like with the Thomas Cook thing, where I can't remember how much money the bosses got. That they knew the company was folding.
Yeah,
they
before
still
they know-
awarded themselves
Yeah,
bonuses.
before they're going down, they start moving stocks
yeah,
around.
but it was just a bit like, okay, look, you might argue and say, look, we tried our damnedest to get a buyer and blah blah blah, no, so I should get some bonus. It's like, okay, I'm not. Let's say let's agree with that. It's like you could still give a great big chunk. I think it was 4,000 people went out of work, and one of the bosses in particular, I think because it was about 4 or 5 of them, but one got, I'm pulling figures out my arse, I think it was something like, between them they got 20 odd million, but one of them got like 9, and the other like
Jesus
5 or 6 got like
Christ.
a couple of million each, something like that. The figures may be wrong, but it was that kind of one guy got a massive chunk of the overall total, and you thought, you could give those 4,000 people, you could give them all like,
decent severance.
you could give them all
package,
10 grand. That's 400,000 pounds. That's
yeah,
not
but then
even-
they wouldn't be in the position they're in. You get there by
I
being the
know.
greedy
It just,
son
I
of a
know,
bitch.
I know. That was the
Yeah.
thing. But you just thought,
But there are some instances where people get on board. Like, allegedly, let's say, from what I've heard, Reading FC had an owner a few years back who got on the board, and this was the year their club was promoted. So the club was actually doing okay. I think they actually had a profit when this guy took over, allegedly, and they got promoted that year and then they got promoted to the Premier League. So they got lots of money, got sort of
oh, so this is
30,
going back
40,
quite a while
50,
then, without being unkind.
yes.
Yeah,
About
it's
7,
quite a
8,
while,
9
yeah.
years, yeah. And they got lots of money for that. And the guy left, and he put himself and all his friends on the board.
Well, of course.
And within that year, they got relegated back, and then the club was suddenly in £30 million debt.
Oh, God.
And they
Evil,
sold
evil.
about 20, 25 million in players as well. So allegedly at some point,
So,
so at some point about 70, 80, 90 million just disappeared in
So
So I was
bonuses.
going to say, you
and-
get parachute payments, don't you, after relegation?
Yes.
But those disappeared, did they?
Well, those were having
tried.
to pay off a lot of the loans that were taken out
see,
as well
okay,
to
right.
pay the board members.
Right.
allegedly.
There really needs to be a moral court. Like the years ago, I think there needs to be a moral.
There's
Well, legally we can do. No. Stop. This is a moral court. You knew what you were doing.
yeah. I
So
agree. It's a
you're
little
going
bit
But-
like,
but
but
they
there should be
literally
in
just-
football, particularly. I think there is a lot of these owners who are just fleecing. You know, it's
Well, there is technically a moral thing. When you buy a football club, technically you have to go through a morals and ethics.
Yeah, but I mean, how-
appraisal.
But even they're bought off.
But well, obviously it does nothing. So you see
Yeah.
the people who
well,
own
there was
football
one
clubs.
of the
geez.
not the current, but going back probably the best part of 10 years. This guy, an Italian, bought, I've forgotten his name now, but he owned, he bought Leeds. He passed all the due diligence, but he'd already been banned in Italy from buying a football club. And you're like, what? How can you be? How can you?
Yeah,
What?
I've forgotten his
How does
name.
that,
I remember, yeah.
Oh, I can't remember. No. I can't remember his name. But it was just like, how can you be? But obviously, clearly the check cleared. That's what it was.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
that-
all- yeah.
you know, it's the
Well,
same
the
like
check
how did
cleared, yeah.
but not trajectory by.
Well, I'm glad about the Trump family. They can't run any more charities for a while because of what they were doing. You know,
yeah, but I mean,
scamming.
how much were they?
charities,
They weren't
companies.
giving money to charity anyway.
No, they're buying paintings.
And he's not
of
going to be
themselves.
impeached. Is he? He's not going to be found guilty. Sorry, he's going to be impeached, isn't he? He's being impeached.
He has
Yeah.
been impeached.
Yeah.
It's whether, and now he will face. I believe he will face a
Senate's
trial
court.
by the Senate.
Which
But
he
the
won't
Senate is
turn up
controlled
to.
by the Republicans.
Which
yeah.
can he not turn up to that then? Or?
Well, he won't. Nobody will
I
allow
imagine
him
that
to
would be
speak
contempt
anywhere.
of court.
He doesn't. He won't. He will
Yes.
not. He can go to court. Is him going to
But
get
it's
in
a
trouble.
Republican. It's a Republican-controlled Senate, so I don't know if you're tried in absentia. If you know,
I don't know if they can be compelled.
No, but
to
under
turn
what I'm
up.
saying
But-
is, it doesn't matter what the laws are.
Yeah.
Under no
Well, like I don't
circumstances
remember
will
seeing
he go
images
and-
of Bill Clinton before the Senate. I think they just decide without you.
What about the Nixon? No, he didn't get impeached. He
didn't
did that
get
speech.
impeached. He got Clinton did a lot of subpoenas, and a lot of that stuff you see, a lot of those clips you see are not subpoenas, are testimony he did.
Oh, because
under-
Trump's refused, hasn't he?
maybe, but he will potentially have to give evidence under. He will have potentially have to be sworn in, and then give evidence. And the trick is to get him sworn in because he will not be able to help himself lying.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So
And
they'll never
then-
allow him to go to speak. They won't allow it. None.
He
Would he
can't-
have one of those
can't,
notes
yeah.
on it?
What a sick note.
No, but didn't he have some?
The written notes of things he had to
Oh.
say.
Yeah, but it was like,
capitals.
I am good. Democrats bad.
Let's not end on. Trump.
Let's not on Trump. We got so far into the episode, actually. I thought we weren't going to do it. There he is. There comes Trump clause.
Yeah, Santa's turned up, so it's time for us to be taken away. Back
Well, that was the. We'll take that as the sign in because in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe,
Oh yeah.
when the White Witch's power is fading,
Yeah.
a big sign of that because winter's ending, is that Santa Claus turns up to give out presents.
St. Nicholas.
St. Nicholas, yeah.
I watched a bit of it the other
Yeah.
day. It was delightful.
Which one did you watch? The
Oh, the-
cartoon,
no,
the
the
BBC, or
film.
the film? I quite like the film,
It is
actually.
alright.
I think it's quite a good fun little film.
So
When was that made?
Probably
10 years ago.
when everyone was trying to do fantasy epics after Lord of the
Yeah,
Rings.
it was like, hey, what properties have we got? Let's do Lord of the Rings. Yeah.
Well, I've got nothing to say about Christmas because it's been thoroughly
You've got nothing to
poisoned
say
and
about-
bought off
So
until
got
it's
nothing to
bought
say
back
about Lord
to-
of the Rings? Going to
No.
cinema?
No.
No.
What was the film you said you saw? The where the ghost comes to see him.
Oh,
Scrooge.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Oh.
Go and see Wonderful Life.
It's,
What's it
I
about?
think it's in re-release. Home Alone is as well.
Is it only CGI?
Home Alone 1 is on Christmas Eve. Home Alone 2 is on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Home
And
Alone
Home
2
2 features.
Yeah. Home Alone 2 has a cameo by a certain president of somewhere as
Who?
well. Trump.
Oh, really? In Home Alone 2?
Yeah, he's in the hotel.
He asked for directions. There was a horror because it's where he comes
We
up
can't
and says,
escape him.
no, he is inevitable like death. And
I am inevitable.
yeah, exactly. But Macaulay Culkin, I think he asked for where the bathrooms are in the hotel. It's just a fun little like, hey, because this is 30 odd years ago. So
Yeah.
it's like, oh, he's that eccentric billionaire, blah blah.
It's that
blah.
real
Yeah.
estate schmuck. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was sort of like, oh, it's down the corridor and turn left, whatever the line is originally, but someone overdubbed it. So he says, but with Trump's own thing. It's down the corridor and touch him by the pussy, grab him by the pussy, and it was like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's ruined childhood memory.
Something popped up the other day. I don't know why. It was Inspector Clouseau. Who played him in the Pink Panther films?
Oh, Peter Sellers.
That's it. Yeah, and just a clip popped up, and I thought I haven't really actually seen one of these. So I just clicked on it, and when you explain it, it's not funny because it's very physical.
Yeah,
but he goes into a bar, and there's a bloke, and he signs his name into hotel. He signs into the hotel, and there's a little dog.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
He goes. Is the dog?
Does your dog bite?
Yeah. Does your dog bite? And he goes, no. And he puts his hand
Yeah,
down. The
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
dog goes for him, and he goes,
That's
"Oh,
not
he
my-
didn't bite." He goes, "Monsieur, that is not my dog."
That's lovely. Yeah.
He tries. He tries to light the lighter in the car.
Is that in the same film?
No, it might not be, but he sets fire.
Because there
to
were
the
about
car.
47 pink. The
There
first
was-
couple. The first one's okay. It's once they started doing Clouseau that it got
Oh,
really good.
yeah.
I think that's Shot in the Dark.
Oh,
isn't it?
Shot in the Dark's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, because is that the one where? Oh no, Pink Panther Strikes Again. I think is the
I've
one
seen it,
where
was
is
that
that one is
Shot in the Dark. He has this wonderful bit where he's going around this old stately home, and he's like, and it's really dark, and he lights a match, and then he just starts walking, and he's just walking for ages in this.
Oh,
in
and
this
he's
thing.
on the treadmill.
And then
yeah.
someone comes in and turns the lights on. He's just on a treadmill. And you think this room's huge. What the hell's going on? He's just on a treadmill. It's like, oh, right.
Yeah, that's what I would say for
Sim-
Christmas.
yeah,
Watch
lovely
some
stuff.
old comedy
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not, where the idea of humour isn't just a fat guy going.
Or any John Candy film. You can
Yeah,
sort of get
yeah.
That keeps you safe.
Bit of Uncle Buck
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles, even though it's Thanksgiving.
That makes you feel sad. What's that one?
What, really?
Yeah.
It
No,
has a melancholy bit to it.
No, it was when he was sat in the church. That reminded me when I was sat in the church at Christmas Eve. So when I think back at it, it's quite pathetic. So yeah, not that one, but the Clouseau or whatever we said. Is they called Pink Panther films?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the whole series is Pink Panther. Yeah, I think it's
There's quite
probably
a
only
few.
watched the first 2 or 3. I would say.
I think was it Revenge as well when the police inspectors like living above him and like drilling loads of holes. And
Oh
watching
yeah,
him.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they have loads of
Right,
weird slow motion like of him falling all the time. Like
because there's an awful one where it's I think it's called Trail of the Pink Panther, and it's really bad. It's basically a clip show. using
there's one that's just a re-edit of like previous.
it's
films.
appalling.
It's bizarre,
It's
yeah.
really genuinely quite awful.
Right.
I think when they start introducing Kato, because Kato's just gene.
Yeah,
that's
all the
that's an
flying
amazing
out the cupboard.
to keep him on edge. You know what I mean? He just has this manservant who will attack him at random, like just to keep his.
Reflexes.
yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, I might stick one of them on and give them a watch.
Yeah, those are good fun. Yeah, there we
That's
are.
it.
There's
So
a
that's-
nice
there's a
happy ending.
positive
Watch some
podcast.
old Pink Panther films.
Yeah, and Pierre, thank you for all your work.
Yes,
Yes,
thank you
thank
very
you,
much.
Pierre.
It's been
Well,
a
you've done
pleasure
very
working
well.
with you.
Yes.
We'll let you take a mince pie away with you.
Yeah, or 2 if you want.
Actually, I'm going to
Shaking
sacrifice
his head.
one of my innocent drinks.
Not a fan.
That was a
fair
firm no.
enough.
You can have a Florentine.
Yeah.
That's, yeah,
Yeah,
see,
yeah, a bit more
Florentine.
Just one.
positive, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, then. Well, that's our Christmas podcast.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you
We're
for
going to
your
have our
support.
love drinks now.
Oh yes.
I should say we're in 50 countries, so
Yeah.
even though we've only got sort of 1 or 2 in various countries. Thank you to Vietnam
Yeah.
for being one of our main
We're in
listeners.
50 countries. How many listeners do you have? 50.
49. Hang on, there's a calculator
Well,
going.
Yeah.
So,
Someone running back and forth across a border.
seem to be doing well in Poland now. Polish. We're
Oh,
gonna
do
be
we?
in Poland, yeah.
Yeah.
I should print them out. Mexico. We've got some in Mexico.
Print them out. Save the planet, mate.
No, say thank you. We
Otherwise
should be able to name our listeners by the first names.
We thank our dozen of listeners.
Yeah. Thanks,
Thank you
guys.
about each country, because if you are in those countries, you're probably the only one. Like, especially the European. we've
Spread
got-
the word.
Yeah, spread the word. And
You're an elite group.
we are
yeah?
first in the UK,
Select.
second in the United States, and the third is Vietnam.
Cool.
So
This is only on our own child. This
Yeah.
isn't overall.
I would like to say Xin Chao to our Vietnamese listeners. I can't remember if that's hello or goodbye, but I've done my
I
best.
really hope it's not. You
Um,
just
well,
you
It
just said
works
something
because this is
rude.
the end, so that it works,
Yeah.
doesn't it? So yeah.
No, what do you mean?
Well, it works if it's goodbye, hello,
Oh,
or
yeah, so
goodbye.
Yeah, Xin Chao for the
works.
beginning of next year or the end of this
So this
year.
is going to be released Christmas Day.
Maybe before.
I
it
thought we were
depends.
saving. I thought we were going to do the Batman as our Christmas present.
No, that's going out on Christmas Day. That's a little special
yeah.
that they're going to hit with.
If I mean, chances are these will come so quick together anyway. Listen to the Christmas Day one. The
Nazis, Buddhists,
yeah,
weapons, and
Gandalf.
bats. It is
Yeah.
like a Lord of the Rings.
hunting through the forest, hunting humans.
Yeah.
Uh,
The greatest-
I'm attacked
The most
by
dangerous game of all. Yeah.
yeah,
blood-sucking vampire bats twice.
Oh yes.
That's
Yeah.
not good, isn't it?
It's it's fucked up in an amazing way.
Anyway,
And
thank you
that's
very
our
much.
signing off for Christmas.
And have a nice Christmas and be nice
Yes.
to each other.
Bye, everyone. Happy
Bye.
Christmas.
Bye.
Bye.